Hello, everybody. You know what time it is. I know what time it is. That's right. It's time for Sintext Live. How you guys doing today? I hope you're doing really well. And I see everybody's already checking in. We got Sniper, Demon, Leonid, Alan. I seen Chris. I see a whole bunch of people over here. And yes, I did see the notice. Yes, I did hurry up as soon as I saw that you added another video into my email. I did run back. However, I don't know if the audio is good, but we're going to find out. So first things first, let's pop a top and start this off right.
Reactor online. Sensors online. Weapons online. All systems nominal.
And I hope everybody is doing nominal today. And as soon as I pour this out, and I'm going to salute you, bad motherfuckers. And here's to everybody having a good day, a good week. And I hope you guys are having a whole lot better time than I am. And we'll get into more of that later. But holy shit.
Holy Jesus. What is that? What the fuck is that?
That is Demon starting this week off with a bang, literally. And let me write this down here. SS Demon. And he says, this week will be my last live stream for a while. My new job wants me to be here before they let me make changes to my schedule. I will still sneak off to the bathroom to super chat though. Just won't be there for the live. I'll miss everybody. We are going to miss you, my good man. We are going to miss you in a big way, and try not to be a stranger. But like I said before, even though I like the super chats, you guys take care of you first. You don't worry about me. I appreciate it. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not so much. I'm not an asshole. I'm a dick. There's a big difference, obviously. All right. We also have the MTF guard checking in, and he sends a $20 super chat, and he says, "Oh, you know what? Let me get you a voice here. Not that one. How about this one?"
Hello, sinners. Hope you enjoy some of the videos I sent. Quite the handful. Hopefully, the one I sent this morning made it to you in time.
Like I was saying before, I did go through. I grabbed all the videos. I went through each of them except for the very last one that was sent most recent. I have not even seen it. I have not seen any of the pictures, the audio, nothing on it. I just hope it works. All right. Awesome, guys. You are... Oh.
Great Scott.
Oh, no, wait. That's the wrong one because I got this one fixed, and this was her idea.
Inconceivable.
And that's still kind of low. I hope you guys can hear that. As Erica... being so outrageous, she sends a $10 super chat. And she says, sorry I'm late. Thank you for everything. Hey, thank you for being here. I'm sure everybody likes you here. And we're going to get into why that is here in a bit. I'm kind of jumping all over myself at the moment. Just so you know, guys, there was a bit of a snafu here in the Northeast. You guys seen that storm that came through? It screwed a lot of things up. But it did help. Or I should say, but it did help me out a little bit. And we'll talk about why here in a second. First things first, Erica, I will say the comments that you sent to the other channel are now going to the other channel's comments, so you don't have to worry about that. And like I was trying to say before, when you were saying not everybody's that way, well, or you're not that way, you're one of the good ones. And if you weren't one of the good ones, you wouldn't be here tonight. All right. Let's see. First things first, let's do our review with the next one of The Files. And you know where I got that? I actually got the name of that from, I was watching the movie Red, where he goes, well, I got to check the files. And it was like, oh, you get inspiration where you can. However, the inspiration also means there's another one dropping tonight, and there's your teaser right there in front of you. And that's going to be the thumbnail for tomorrow. Just so you know, every time I do the files, as you guys have noticed, the background doesn't change. The additions, besides where it says top secret and the actual file and the card in the back, those all stay the same. As far as the picture and everything else, that I got to put on. I decided, you know what, if we're gonna do this, let's do it this way. Because honestly, How many other pictures do you have of an open file and a picture sitting there? So I can give you a little bit on that. So on those, whoever's the first one to, again, it's in the same spot. Yes, the Sintext is always going to be in that same spot. It is what it is. So yeah. Not too much as far as the comments go. However, it took me a second to realize when somebody said the vampire didn't understand this channel is Team Jacob. I'm sitting there going, what? What? And I was totally lost until I talked to a niece of mine, and she's like, oh, I think that was that really bad TV series or movie series. And I was like, oh, fucking Twilight. That's what it was. Oh, I actually walked. The only movie I was ever there to see was the first about 5 minutes. I don't even know what number it was. And I actually got up and walked out. My date said, where you going? I said, life is too short. And I just kept walking. So, give me a sip here. That was just, once I figured it out, though, it was kind of funny. All right. Somebody mentioned in the last one of the 3-parter that was witches, that is pretty close to the truth. Now, I did a lot of research for those. I dug deep into the witch mentality and the different covens. The reason why it's close to the truth, if you guys have never looked into this occult stuff, is because there are so many subsections to it. You might as well be saying, oh, that's the military. Well, what part of the military? And just break it into all the little subsections from there. I mean, it gets pretty, I don't want to say diverse because that's the wrong one, but you get the idea. There's so many subsections on there that honestly, I could do an entire series just on witches, just on them. And it would probably take me 2 months to even get halfway through. That's how many different ones there are, because there's so many that are just so close to each other. It's like dealing with a different type of elves. Most of them are extremely similar, but they are different. Okay, this one, I'm sorry, I didn't get the reference because somebody said the transformation was like the bat-like mice in Andromeda for Birth of a Wolfman. I'm at a loss, man. I'm sorry. I never watched the show, so I can't say nothing on that. So, if nobody read the comment on that one, then there you go. Although this one made me laugh. Talking about the Wolfman, and they asked, so they don't play fetch? Where is the, yeah. Or a little. Would have worked better with the werewolves on that. Now, that's pretty much it for the files. And then we had our fan-driven one. Yes, Chris, we were going to get to it. And even thinking about this episode is twinging my stomach. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that, dude. Actually, you know what? I got a better hold on. I got a better picture for that. Right about here. You guys think it was bad listening to that where the guy pulled up his friggin' dick cheese that was coming off like string cheese on his finger and then putting that in the curry to hand somebody to drink? Try having to read it, where every time you screw up a syllable, you have to start back over and read it over and over and over and over and over again. Thank you for the nightmares. Ugh. Just, ugh. I hope you're laughing right now, because that's, if I was in your shoes, I'd be laughing my freaking ass off. But anyways, and I forgot to put in there, written by. That's my fault. I should actually change the thumbnail on that. But that one, when they leveled up, I do have to say this. Actually, War Sniper, hey, are you in? I think I see. Yeah, there you are. You're in the comment section. You missed a small part, because even if Chris did not understand what he was putting down about the piggyback ride, he was actually subconsciously in this chat. And you're probably sitting there going, what the hell is he talking about? I'm going to explain. You keep saying how you want to pat Erica's head. Well, if you're on a piggyback ride, guess what? You're patting her head as you're going along. So subconsciously, he wasn't wrong. However, I mean, personally, I would have changed it a little bit. But then again, I wouldn't have forced somebody to talk about ass nuggets in their curry. God damn it. Oh God. Oh, I gotta stop. I gotta stop. Oh, oof. This is not an episode of Make Pop Puke. This is blah. Okay. 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 Oh. Hold on.
What? What the fuck?
What the fuck am I seeing? I'm seeing a $10 super chat from the Guardian Sage. And he says he was referring to Magog. Their birth is similar to chestbursters from Alien. Oh, from the Alien franchise. Chestbursters. Ah! Okay. I'll take your word for it. Again, I haven't seen the series. So I'm not debating you in one stage or another. Just, yeah. Let me just write you down here, Guardian, so you can get your shout outs here. And somebody better be dying because, sorry guys, my dad's around and okay, whoever that is can wait. That's an unknown number. I don't know who the hell that is, so they can piss right the hell off. Why is it when I'm on the live stream, somebody calls me? The hell's wrong with them? Hopefully you guys aren't hearing too much of that. So let me pull this one up because the next thing to come up was something familiar. There's something familiar about it, and I can't figure it out. Now, I do have to say there are two things about this. One, it was requested. It was requested that I continue this series, and I will be trying to do so as much as I can, especially in the month of October. Now, it's not meant to actually be spooky. It's meant to be a mind twister, which I'm better at those now than I am actually bringing horror because most horror stuff has been so overdone, whatever. And son of a bitch, hold on. I got to check. Sorry, guys. I got to check because if that's the area code, no, it's not. Okay, fuck them. All right. Because I had the power outage, I actually was able to spend some time doing this. I literally spent about 7-8 hours finishing this, not completing it, not start to finish. It took that long to put another about 10 pages down. And when I do pages on this, I don't know if I got it close to me or not. I do not, son of a bitch. Okay. It's literally just solid on the page. So it takes a really long time. However, I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. Also, if you guys have any other requests, you gotta let me know. I can't read your minds. I'm not sitting here like Spock doing a fucking mind meld on your ass or on any other part of you. So you gotta let me know. All right. Okay, we'll talk about that here in a minute there, Sniper, about how your character was. All right. Let me pull this off. And before we jump into this other area, let me go into the media assets here. And I did get a few videos, and I don't remember where I stopped last time. I think right about there. So I think we'll start, say, no, that's not it. 2, 3. No, maybe it's this one. You really got to think about those land ships, aren't you? Because that's what the tanks were originally designed to be, warships on the land. Anyway, just a reminder, as I said before, I do have a video lined up for tonight. Once again, there is the thumbnail. I was hoping I would get more on the soundboard. Unfortunately, when I went to do the soundboard saves for like Cartman from South Park, something happened with this computer, and I don't know what it was, but it freaked the fuck out, and I got to go and use a different system. All right. Now, moving on to more of the news that's from around everything from pop culture to video games to anything that has to do with entertainment and a little bit of science fiction that is no longer science fiction. I don't know if you guys seen, but they redid the original movie Amadeus, which is supposed to be I believe it was a stage show originally for Mozart, and they changed Mozart into an Asian dude. I'm not kidding, because we all know there were a lot of Asians in Victorian Europe. Yes, if you did hear that right, and yes, if your brain hurts, you're not the only one. So yeah, that was wow. Now, on a completely separate note, the console wars are almost officially over. I know many of you are big gamers. Unfortunately, I'm not anymore. But you're going to have to be changing from consoles to PCs if you haven't already. Actually, almost everything I get sent to me is from PC games. And I've said it for a long time. The PC games couldn't keep up with the console games for about 2 or 3 decades. That was about it, because most computers did not have enough room for a strong enough graphics card. And it is what it is. Now, I'm just going to go over a few of these. These are ones that are supposed to be coming out in the next year. The new Mortal Kombat originally looked really good. The people that got the alpha, they did the alpha test. They all said the same thing. It's a feminist bait and switch. So they're going to go from get over here to my fan cuts you and real quick. And I'm just like, what? Just get back to your roots with the blood and the gore and the hurting and the fatality and all that other shit. Leave everything else alone. Why can't they do that? And here's one I didn't even know. It's from Ubisoft, called a Yasuke. It got canceled completely. Everybody saw how bad it was, and they said, fuck all that noise. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. I'm gone now. I wish I could get that on here as a button, but if I actually played the actual audio, this I get demonetized. All right, the next Assassin's Creed doesn't look like it's going to be coming out, because the previous one where they did the samurai, who was a 6 foot, 8 foot tall, friggin' 5.5 feet wide black dude in samurai armor in medieval Japan, flopped so hard that they're having trouble getting investors right now. There's also something called Ghost of Nobai. Now, I don't know this one. I've never played any of them. I haven't seen any of them. But apparently it's dying fairly fast. The pre-orders are gone. Everyone's just saying, no. We saw what the previews were. We saw the beta, and we're out of here. And okay. Now, here's one for a lot of you guys who like the Trekkie Treks. The game Starfleet Academy was hated by the fans so much that they're trying to actually take it off of the server itself. They don't, even the consoles itself want to get rid of it, because everybody's just trashing it. And I could see why. It's just from the thumbnail, I'm sitting there like, no. The CGI does not do the actual makeup of the show any justice. I mean, hell, it's like original Star Trek level stuff. I mean, it's terrible. Let's see. Assassin's Creed. The hell? Oh man, I gotta write this better. The new one is like, Assassin's Creed based in the Civil War. Yeah, completely and totally canceled. So if you were looking forward to that one, it's been canceled until further notice. And main reason, their actual designers and stuff were trying to insist on inserting their own politics, and everybody else was saying no because it won't sell, and they're saying no, we want to put this in, we're going to do it anyway, and there's a big back and forth, and then the pre-orders go down because it's just a mess. Now, on a lighter note, though, one of these games, Ninja Garden, had one of these ladies who was just crazy hot. But because of that, everybody started freaking out. All these self-righteous morons. I forget the actual, what the hell was it? There was a company there that they would actually push their politics in if they reviewed it once. It's like Baby Sweet something. I don't know what the hell. Anyway, they got all pissy at the main character because she is extremely nice to look at. Now, that body shape I know, and every other guy knows, doesn't happen in real life without extensive plastic surgery. But kicker is, it was every single pixel of her was designed by a group of women. And now they have no place to stand on. It's actually funny to watch them squirm. Let's see, where was I? And the final piece on the video games, at least I hope. Dragon Age and Mass Effect were both sold off. They're done. They've crashed themselves into the ground so hard that everyone's just trying to get rid of them. Hey, someone's in the chat telling everybody to bite him. 1,167 times. Okay, are you guys ready to be pissed off? Because this pissed me off. Apparently, for the new Star Wars show, and yes, it's a whole new show, they're trying to bring Rey Palpatine back. And she's supposed to be the bestest ever as she trains the new generation. So basically, she's better than Luke Skywalker even then, after she stops being the Jedi she was never actually trained to be. My brain hurts. A bunch of you who just heard me talk about this and you just said, are you freaking serious? Yes, I am serious. They're trying to do it. I don't think it's going to fly. There's so many people that do not like that character. There's a lot of people that don't even like that girl as an actress, that they need to just cut ties with that and just start over. Let Star Wars rest for a decade and then try to bring it back. But then again, as we get farther down, that might not even happen. Let's see. On other movies and shows, the Superman and Peacemaker shows and movies. Turns out they've lost so many fans that they might not be able to continue any sequels or continue anything, which I think is kind of bad because the little bit I saw of Peacemaker I thought was funny. It was a little over the top, but it's supposed to be. I didn't watch the new Superman, but the thing is, they've pissed off their fans so much. And you guys can tell me why, because I haven't watched all of it. But for some reason, they've lost the fans. And as I have unfortunately found out, something I kept telling people before, once you lose fans, once you lose subscribers, once you lose people that want to actually enjoy your work, getting them back is almost impossible. It's absolutely crazy. You got to make one hell of a big splash. And unfortunately, this channel doesn't make that big of a splash. This is an acorn dropped in a pond, not a boulder. So anyways, sorry, for some reason the soda's trying to come back up on me. The reason why a lot of these might not ever get a remake is because the total collapse of hollywierd due to AI. Now, this is something, by all means, I want you guys to put in the comment section on your ideas of this. But as far as I understand this, now I'm not one programming this, but I have listened to people who are programmers, who have been on the cutting edge of this stuff, and they're about my age. They grew up with it. They're saying everything's moving so fast that the AI is writing its own algorithms within the next 12 months. You know how you can give somebody a voice prompt and get a 10-second video? Now you can give it a voice prompt, and which is just speak to voice to text technology. Double check what you read, and it'll give you a full-blown movie with whomever you choose to actually be in said movie. Now, I can imagine a certain industry might have a problem with this because they make a lot of money on a lot of this stuff. But if you can do this on your phone and you can, back at the house, why in the hell would you go on their website?
Gotcha, bitch.
That they're in a lot of trouble. And it's not just Hollywood. It's all of them. It's all those who work with video anything. And it's kind of bad because some of these guys who work in the whole CGI industry, they've been working there for years, learning all this. And now an AI is just going to take over their job and they're going to be out on the street. It's not going to be learn to code. It's going to be learn to farm because everybody's still got to eat. If that means their scrawny ass has to be out chucking watermelons, then that's what they got to do. Everybody's got to adjust. And that falls into the way technology adjusts, and everybody just has to adjust with it. Now, even without conflict, I want you to understand that a lot of people don't quite get it. And if you know somebody who's like, oh no, I don't know how the world's going to change or if it can change or blah, 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 just run this by them. It's real simple. Every technology is going to be changed by an obscure piece of technology that they didn't know was going to change things. However, you're going to have the people who grew up with it are going to fight tooth and nail to keep it. I'm going to put this in the military standard, okay? You had all the guys who used to train all day to be knights. They used the broadswords. They used the spears, the halberds, the catapults. They trained meticulously on this stuff. However, when gunpowder came in, which was originally meant to be a firecracker, it changed everything. Now, it took a little bit from generation 1 to generation 2, i.e. from basic gunpowder to cartridges. That's when it really changed. So warfare changed drastically at that. But they also still remain certain things did remain, which was mounted cavalry. The mounted cavalry was taken down by what? A Vickers machine gun, the very first fully produced military-grade machine gun. It was not very reliable, but it did the job. And it was enough to end cavalry charges from there on out. It ended in World War II when those things came out. The kicker is the original machine gun was just an engine on a Gatling gun. And that thing was not designed to spread freedom seeds, but to actually plant actual seeds. That's what its original design was supposed to be. However, again, an obscure piece of technology. What did we do? We adapted. We learned. Learned at great cost, but we learned. Then what happened after that? Once the machine gun took care of mounted cavalry, then we had tanks, the kind of tanks that run around and just blow stuff up, kind of like this.
Target destroyed.
And of course, once you have the tanks, everyone thinks that's the end all be all. For a long time, actually in World War II, they thought tanks would be the end all be all. And they were kind of sort of right, but they weren't fully right. Now, infantry and air power changed a lot of things. Actually, air power changed how we fight on the oceans. As soon as aircrafts could be launched from planes, the era of the battleship was over. It took a while for aircraft to go through that development phase from things like biplanes all the way to, like Messerschmitts and stuff like that. And Spitfires and all that. Once they got to that point, and once they made actual carrier-specific aircraft, battleships were completely obsolete. There were still people who wanted to use them. A certain person with a little bitty mustache under his nose who came to power in 1939 in Germany. Yeah, he thought battleships were the end all be all. That's why he commissioned the Bismarck. The Bismarck should never have been made. But you know what? When the Bismarck actually did his maiden voyage and the whole world saw that aircraft, something that wasn't meant for the ocean, could take out a battleship or at least disable it, it changed everything. Now, I bring this up as an evolution of things to come because guess what? Tankers are completely and totally obsolete now. We actually, thanks to technology, we have actually bypassed that starting area with drones. Drones, when I was in, was this little dinky friggin' basically paper mache aircraft with a battery on it that you had to just yeet that son of a bitch upwind, so it caught the wind. The engine was already cranked up, and then it kind of peeled off sideways, and all it could do was take video. Now they're taking out 80-ton pieces of equipment from miles away. So, and with that, you look at and you take all that big rant, and you attach it to AI. AI has already passed its initial development stages. It is now in the final area where it can take over. And this is where everybody is just trying to, they're just freaking the hell out. They're freaking out. What do? You simply adapt. What did people do when farm tractors meant that you didn't need 50 workers over a summer anymore? You only needed half a dozen. They adapted. They went and worked in the gins, in the factories and whatnot. People adapt. However, be ready for a big shift in entertainment. And if you want to see how good these things can get, they just did a video. Look up, I believe it's Robot Uprising. I'm not sure exactly what. Put in XAM, XAM in there as well, and it should be there. Completely made with a game engine and voice prompts. It's good. It's very fun to watch. It's creepy as shit when you actually break it down, but it's pretty good. All right, that's my rant on AI and how things are going to change, or have to change, not going to change. Now, somebody brought this up before, though, that the tech that's coming out is being stagnated. Yeah, no shit by design. Everybody knows that. There's hidden technology all over. However, the kicker is they can't hide it anymore. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, over in Hollywood, they just showed one of the Kardashians. I think it's the matriarch. She's older than my dad. Somehow, within 6 months to a year, she went looking older than my father to looking younger than me. And no plastic surgery does that. There's no plastic surgery scars. There's no how do I put this? There's telltale signs when somebody gets plastic surgery. And there's not enough coverage on her face. If she had enough to actually make herself look that young, every time she smiled, it would crack and peel and go to shit. Okay, it is honestly freaky. And that's one of the technologies that's coming out. The kicker is, I've been talking about it. You guys have heard it in my stories for months, if not years now, that I talk about the technology that's going to just keep people young. No fucking shit. And that's the thing. I'm not a seer, I don't think. I might be, maybe, I don't know. But a lot of the stuff I talk about eventually comes out. Reason being is I see the evolution of things, and that's one of them. And all they're really doing is de-aging. It's rejuvenation. Okay? Not regeneration. That's very different. However, since they can rejuvenate, I'm sure Douglas there, I'm sure he'd love to make himself a bit younger so he could, roll around and help raise his grandchild and all that, which I think he's still in there, or in the chat, but I can't see his name at the moment. Anyways, who the hell wouldn't want extra time? And guess what? It's like they always say, they will tell you what technology they have before they bring it out. Just like they have to tell you the bad shit they're going to do before they bring it out. Back to the Future 2. When he said, I know you wouldn't recognize me, he starts peeling off that cover on his skin and saying he just gave himself 30 or 40 years extra life. That's what this shit does. I mentioned it last week where it was coming out of China. China is actually trying to catch up with us. They're not inventive. They just steal a lot of stuff and they claim it's theirs. China, unless they want a complete and total demographic collapse, is going to be forced to bring this technology out as a general use and saying, hey, dude, you're 55, 60 years old. We're going to revert you back to your 25-year-old self, and we're going to use this robot to shit out some crotch fruit for you. And then you're going to have to raise this vaginal turd with a woman we assign to you. And if you don't want to go with that, you lose all your credit score in the social credit score system. And yeah, you're fucked, and not in a good way. That's the only way they have to keep their society from collapsing in the next 10 to 15 years. It is just absolutely freakish. And like I said before, and I'll say it again, they will release technology only when they have to. In this case, they fucking have to. All right. Final piece before we move on to the comment section. And this kind of made me sad because Ahsoka in Star Wars was one of, if not my favorite character, at least until the live action. And why the live action? Because that actress does a terrible job. The director did a horrible job. Everything was done poorly. However, it's getting worse. It is getting actually worse. Because in season 2 of Ahsoka, apparently the mercenary Mandalorian badass bitch that they had from Star Wars Rebels is now very, very, very gay. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but there's never been a precedence for that. Besides, she always had a thing for the young Space Aladdin kid, or whatever the hell his name was. And I'm just like, why are you still pushing politics in this? Seriously, why? And I'll tell you what, if they tried to make Ahsoka swing the other side of the fence, I'm going to hurt somebody. Because they already showed in the original the Clone Wars series that she was sweet on the what's his name? Denturi, I think his name was. She was never looking on the other side of the fence. She had a female friend who stabbed her in the back, which would mean she would have less chance that she would be interested in other women. It's just, it doesn't fit, people. It doesn't fit, which is actually one of the things that kind of stops me from doing a lot of stories. I actually, here, I'll even show you. This was the from today. This is all the notes that I was working with. Right here, behind this big scratch right here is a whole nother page that I had to rip out because it didn't work. Do not be afraid to disregard something if it doesn't work. I was going off in a whole different tangent in the wrong direction, not where I wanted to go. So, anyways, before we go in, where were we? What the hell? I think it was, next one was this one. Oh yeah, somebody does not like doorways. All right. That was interesting. And actually, that's the best. We call it the fatal funnel for a reason. Going in through a doorway. If you ever have to go through a doorway, immediately turn. Get the hell away from that doorway. Because if somebody sees you come through, the first thing they're going to do is shoot at that door. And if you're moving the right way, and I've seen this on video too, as you're moving down the side, as you're turning your weapon, you'll actually see the bullets hit behind them. Because the eye is trying to lock on the door, but lock on you at the same time. And there's a delay, a natural delay. Anyways, let me go up here and look at all you guys because you guys are just fucking awesome. Let me scroll up at least a little bit here. Where should I start? Where should I start? Way up here. Okay. You know what? We'll start here, right here, where Guardian sent his super chat. And let's see. Move that. Says Chris says Indian food is the best food. I don't think I'll ever be able to eat it again. Thank you. Okay. Says he continues with, I was thinking about the chat when I wrote that. I'm sure you were. I'm sure you were. And I'm sure a few people were listening and they were just sitting there like, is he saying what I think he's saying? Because that just, just, I'm sorry, but yeah. Okay. Demon says, I get 20 robot calls a day and it drives me nuts. Yeah. It's like a steering wheel on my belt buckle. It's driving me nuts. It drives me completely crazy. And honestly, I love it when people call and you get that person on the, hello, my name is Steve. And, sorry, my name is Jake today. Are you the homeowner? I'm like, the thing is, I know exactly what to say where they would get pissed off and they don't want to call me again. You claim that they are into incest and then say something bad about their maternal figure. And usually that's enough to get them to actually hang up on you. And then they usually like block this guy's total asshole. Because the kicker is they all work in the same office and they find out that they were sent somebody to call who they know is going to insult them in a bad way. Then, you're going to have employees start going at each other. And over there, you can just wail on somebody and nobody gives a shit. I mean, hell, they don't even care about dropping trash. Okay. Chris says, the files have been amazing. And let me move in here. And War Sniper, who I'm hoping gets a rifle instead of a bow here soon, says, Sin, I just disliked me literally pissing Erica off and almost dying while at it. Understand the idea, but why you out of nowhere jumps on her back like that? What the hell? Again, and yeah, he says, I don't know how I feel about that. Dude, I didn't write it. Talk to Chris. I in that case, I'm just the narrator. I'm just the guy trying to stifle his vomit while I'm actually going on. And I'm sorry, I went from, all this crazy stuff to, oh, what the hell does that mean? Oh, what's going on? What's going on? I'm looking down at a $20 super chat from the big man on the bike, Brian Kemp. And he says, thank you guys for the great story. 6 hours to go. I'll have 7 days off. At the last 30 days, I worked 27 days up to 11 and a half hours a day. Jesus, dude, you need seriously, you need a damn break. You do. At this time of year, you can't just get on your bike and go cruise. Well, maybe you could, depending on where you are. But I know around here, that's not really going to happen. We got like I said, the nor'easter came through and kind of fucked us up. And it's been really chilly since then. Got the first burn of the year done, though. I had to clear out everything. But thank you again, Brian. And Guardian, Erica, Guard, Demon, everybody else, thank you so much for doing the super chats. I very, very much appreciate it. And let me get back somewhere where I was. Right about here, Chris saying, I knew you'd love that and saw the curry vendor while flying around. Stop with the curry, man. You're killing me here. Ugh. Demon says, "Oh, is it gonna shoot down a plane? Maybe." Just remember, at the end of the month, one of the videos that's going to drop for the day is going to be all the stuff you guys sent. And I'm going to actually mark it. And everything you sent for the month is going to end up being compiled. And I'll do a quick intro like, hey, these are from subscribers to the channel, yada, yada, yada. And here you go. And they're just going to play back to back to back. There's not even going to be an outro of me talking. It's just going to be everybody back to back to back. And from what I can see, it's probably going to be about 40 minutes long. And yeah, I don't know. Tell me if that's long enough. Ladies, tell me if that's long enough. Is that a good time? I don't know. Okay. Chris saying, the line, the spicier the better, if I remember correct, was to show that she had zero intent to kill and knew he was okay because of the healing. Yeah, also a little spite, I'm sure. War Sniper. I clearly missed something in that episode. Well, maybe it's something that might turn your stomach. Lena said, did you get a new Windows update? Yep, just like everybody else. Why? Is my stuff not coming in right? You guys got to let me know if something's off. Because if it is, I got to go in and fix it. War Sniper, if you made Alan trying to get Erica into a maid outfit, then yeah, I can understand it.
Giggity giggity, giggity goo. Stick around.
All right. He continues with Sin. In some ways, Helldivers 2 can hard lock your PC and can destroy your CPU, GPU, or power supply in some. Really? What type of software sucker punch is that? I don't know. That's weird. And he continues, I have a feeling I gave Chris an idea for the next episode. Well, shit. Yeah, why not? I could do without the red banana hammock on somebody. But then again, I'm not writing it. By all means, keep it coming. Chris, do whatever the hell you want, because I'm not going to stop you. Okay? If you send it, as long as it's YouTube friendly enough, I'm gonna read it. Chris says the next one is about an angry dwarf blacksmith named Happy Billy. You know what? I got nothing. Interesting Bill, the angry dwarf. I'm not even touching that one. Not even touching that one. SS Demon says Ninja Gaiden. Okay, I wrote it down in my stuff here. Garden. Ninja Gaiden, great game series. I've heard about Ninja Gaiden. Again, I've never played it, so I can't say personally either way, but I can say, hey, if you do what you enjoy, and the fact that they made her fun to watch kind of helps things. Where was I? Okay, Guard says, wow, I'm not even surprised with some of that stuff. Nope. I'm not surprised either. It's like they're trying to destroy everything. And just why? Why? Just give us some good stuff. Seriously, if they gave me creative control out of certain series, I could fix them so much, and people would be literally chomping at the bit to watch the rest of it. I could fix The Mandalorian. Not a problem at all. It would be so easy. You guys have heard me talk about that one. You give me a whole new Star Trekky Trek series. I don't even like Trek, and I could probably fix that without any issues at all. A lot of these are they can do them right, and that's what pisses me off. I'm like, what we want to see. We want to see these Mandalorians just start beating everybody's ass. But one thing they are not doing that they absolutely have to is they show Mandalorians getting hit, but they never show the blood of where the gaps of the armor are hit, and they might lose an appendage, or they need cybernetics or whatever. They need to do that because they're making the Mandalorians too strong, which makes them a threat to everybody, which is going to make them a target. And the last thing they need is to be a target again. Anyway, Guardian says, that's hilarious. They can't complain because a group of women designed a sexy, not just sexy female MC. Hey, just so long as she is not,
It's a trap!
we're all good. Apparently, they put
It's a trap!
inside a recent anime. A lot of people were going crazy about that because of the design of the character. I'm like, dude, they can design the characters any way they want. I just want a decent series. But the problem is I don't have time to watch any of them. Guard says, but how? If you're talking about Mando and Grogu, then that's physically impossible because as of right now, she's not even born yet. Let's see. Demon says, Star Wars has been dead for a long time. Yeah. It killed itself when they tried to do. They literally had the blueprint for everything they needed, and they said, "Nah, fuck that. We're gonna do something else. We're gonna keep the name." That's what. When it came to the movie World War Z, guys, read the book, listen to the audio book, do anything but watch that piece of shit Brad Pitt on the screen, because all he did is came in, he said, no, I have to be the hero. There's no heroes in the book. There's survivors. That's the whole point, or one of the major points of the whole thing. But no, everything Brad Pitt puts himself in, he has to be the hero. He has to be as flawless as possible. He's flawed because he's too good. What the flying fuck knuckles is that about? This is what happens when you let actors in charge of the movies. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Sylvester Stallone. I think he can direct, but he can't direct something he acts in. Because if you do, what do you get? The last Rambo movie where he cut the guy's heart out? I'm like, no, that was a dumb fucking movie. It should have ended with the previous one. But no. Okay. I need a drink. God damn it. Rey is a Jedi Master. Yeah, I'm having a bad case of deja brew on that one. And he continues with, no. Hold on. Let me do this right. Rey's a Jedi Master?
No, hell no.
And I agree with you right there. It's just, why? Leland says, I like playing racing games. I like going fast. Hey, who doesn't? I just can't go fast on the roads around here. They're too narrow. They curve too much. You're going to end up either going off the edge, and usually there's about a 6-foot drop, or you're going to end up smashing into somebody at really high speed. And because there's absolutely no time to correct yourself. I actually, this morning, I almost got pushed off the road by the damn school bus. Okay. Where was I? Guard says, seriously, no. The Mandalorian takes place 5 years after the Empire fell, and Mando and Grogu takes place 1.5 years to 2 years after the Mandalorian ended. So she's not even alive yet. Yeah, you're right. See, it's all got to fit, and these folks don't give a shit. The huge continuity errors, and they don't give the first flying flip of a fuck. Or how's that phrase go? The first front flip of a flying fuck. Ugh. Okay. Guard says, she has not earned the title of Jedi Master. All she got was the Mary Sue treatment, and that's it. Yes, you are 100% right. 100 million% right. And a lot of people actually tried to say that Rey Skywalker, Rey Palpatine, whatever the hell you want to call her, is a Mary Sue, but that means Anakin was a Mary Sue. No, he spent decades training, decades fucking up. He's got scars to prove it. He's missing parts. He screwed up, and he continued on. She just never screws up. And if she does, it's because she's, too powerful for her own good. I'm like, no. No. That's not how that works. And she never actually got the title of Jedi because she never went through her great trial. Which, yes, I know enough about Star Wars to know they have to do that. Chris says, I dated one girl built like that. She was a Puerto Rican dance instructor. This crazy. And then there's that level crazy. She actually stabbed me with a fork because I was too nice to a waitress. Yeah. In a lot of cultures, jealousy is a major, major, major factor. And I don't know how else to say it, but it's just there. For a lot of people, it's just in the culture. Let's see. Lenin says, do you know what Ilum was? Disney blew up that planet. Oh, blew that planet up. I don't. And there's War Sniper with Yandere alert! Yandere alert! Woo! Woo! Let's see. Guardian says, it would work better to be more realistic to have Vader's former Padawan be the new founder of the new Jedi Order. Yeah, actually it would. You're talking about the guy who kept his laser dildos on his chest? Yeah, that would actually work out better because he had something that balanced him out, his wife. And that's one of the key things there is the two separate parts, the yin and the yang, again, to bring balance. And people don't realize that, when they said that Anakin, Vader, whatever the hell you want to call him, would bring balance to the Force, he actually did. Everybody knows this. Now there's an equal number of Jedi and Sith in the entire freaking universe by the time they were done. It wasn't out of balance at that point. The only way you could say it was out of balance was if you took the other Sith that are off in the middle of God's nowhere, squared or cubed or quadrangled or whatever, and they're doing their own thing and they're focusing more on the dark side as they figure out something dark side and all that other shit. That's the only way they could say that the Force was out of balance. It was already out of balance when they started. Let's see, where was I? Okay. Chris says the Puckle gun was the first machine gun. I have personally, I'm not saying you're wrong. Me personally, I've never seen a Puckle gun that was a machine gun. The Puckle gun that I've actually seen, it had a set of, well, how do I put this? The magazine itself looked like if you pulled all the bullets out of a revolver and it just kind of sat there. You filled them up by hand, and then you would actually fire, pull it out, move it, and then put it forward, lock it in, and fire again, which meant you could fire, I think it was 8 shots in, at that time, extremely rapid succession, but it was not a machine gun. If there was a machine gun variant of that, I've never seen it. And the major problem with the Puckle gun was the fact that people would fill these things and sometimes they would leave them someplace loaded for a long period of time. And as you know, gunpowder degrades and then they wouldn't get enough out of it. They would have to have somebody hurry up and load another one really quick. And yeah. For those that haven't seen, don't know what a Puckle gun is, basically it's a little mini cannon. The shot is about the size of a racquetball ball. Ball. Oh, you got the balls. And yeah. It was, for its time, it was actually devastating, especially since it would crash into you and yeah, there wouldn't be much left. Anyway, Douglas says crossbows also contain that mountain knights become crossbows also made certain that mounted knights became obsolete. Yes and no. The crossbow itself did not. The bolts in particular did. Because if you fired at a knight, a mounted knight that usually had more armor on their chest than your average knight, a broadhead wouldn't go through. But when they actually, hammered it down into a point, that really tight point, that was the armor piercing shit that worked. So you're not wrong with the crossbows, but you could do the same thing with the actual bow and arrow, just not nearly as effectively. But it came down to the type of bolt you were using. So you're not wrong. But one of the things there with the narrow bolt to pierce, that would usually not have enough to take down the horse. It would make the horse a lot slower, but it wouldn't kill it. Let's see. Leonid saying, do you really trust AI to code itself? It used its own imagination. Actually, it doesn't use its own imagination. It only goes in and finds what's been said or done before and integrates that with what somebody said or done before. If there's no additional information, it's completely stagnant. And that's the failure of AI itself, which is why, believe it or not, okay, I got to go into side rant here. Hold on. Do I have a thing for side rant? No, I don't. Damn it. That was the Cartman one I wanted to get. It didn't work on me. All right. Side rant. Everybody here has heard of the Terminator franchise, of course. Everybody who watches the Terminator franchise wonders why the machines always lose. There is an actual reason for that. And this falls into exactly what you were talking about with the AI code. When Skynet was created, its original design was back in the 1980s. Games in particular at that time were designed to be hard, but ultimately beatable, to the point where buried in their code was usually something that would make them delay, get distracted, aim the wrong way, do something that would make it easier for them to be beaten. For programs of that time, those were there. Very few games are out there that are deliberately set up to just wipe the floor with you every single time, and you have to somehow outthink the AI. That has not happened till later. The actual source code of Skynet does not allow that. It must be beaten. It must allow itself to be beaten, even though to its own knowledge, it doesn't know it's there. That's the whole point of that. That's why Skynet never wins, never fully. That's why at the one when they sent John Connor back, and then, or not John, the Reese character back, and then they came out and they infected John Connor. All that Terminator had to do was, before Reese walked forward, was reach up, grab hold of him, and infect him. And that would have ended the entire thing, and it would have won, but it didn't. It held back. That is why. That is their opening. That is why Skynet always loses. So, sorry about the side rant, but I had to get that one out. It's been rattling around in my thinking meat all week. Lena says, you can never replace the cavalry. The cavalry must adapt. And by that, which cavalry do you mean? Because the cavalry has changed. Originally, the cavalry was simply men on horseback with bows when it first came out. It was never stomp everybody into the ground. It quickly evolved into that, bringing in the cavalry, sure. But then it was like the hussars over in Poland, where their mounted cavalry was not just mounted, but they were also able to fight on foot. They would like to stay on horseback, but they didn't always do that. Eventually, that changed to mechanized cavalry, i.e. tanks, jeeps, things of that nature. Then we got air cavalry. So it's evolving over time. You will never remove cavalry, but you can replace the current one with the new one. That's all I'm getting at. I'm not saying that there's no place for a niche weapon system, but unfortunately, tanks nowadays are a very niche weapon system. It is what it is. It is what it is. It ain't what it ain't, and I got nothing else on that. Okay. Guard says, I dated one girl who tried to get me arrested by saying that I was an abusive boyfriend, even though she was the one being abusive, the one in the relationship. Yeah, I've seen that happen. Actually, my nephew's still having some problems because of a woman who did that. Apparently, they were talking and he put his hand over her shoulder like this, and not her, but her friend decided, oh, that means he choked you. I'm going to call the police. Fucked up his life for the past like 4 or 5 months. Ooh. And note to everybody out there, don't put anything online or over a text message you wouldn't want plastered on the front page of the New York Post. If you can't do that, don't send it, because it can always be used against you after he told somebody to screw off. All right, Gard also says, thank God I was friends with the sheriff's son and he wanted to hear my side of the story. In short, she wanted me to sell my farm and go work in the city with a stupid night. Them's not fighting words. Them's a going to war type words right there. Continues with, like she was pushing it, kind of like scheduling me appointments without my knowledge, canceling plans, and had set up on my own calendar. She was hell-bent on making me a businessman. Well, too bad. My business is goats, chickens, pigs, and bees. Smart man. Not papers and vampiric lawyers that I swear if I put a wooden stake into them, they probably would turn to dust like a vampire would. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Although I do know a couple of lawyers, just because now that I'm kind of in the business area, I'm still looking into an LLC, but I'm not quite big enough to justify that because it is an extra expense on my part. Anyway, yeah, dude, no, why? I just did on my other channel a video on you can't fix someone else unless they want to be fixed. You can fix yourself if you want to be fixed, but you can't fix anyone else if they don't want to be fixed. If whoever wants to be fixed, yeah, encourage them, help them along. That's awesome. That's great. But sorry, I didn't want to bring up my other channel. I just do shorts on those now. I don't have time for long form videos. It would be nice if I could, because there was a second part that I wanted to do about, because I did one on, and I'm sure Erica's seen it because she's seen most of my stuff over there, about the whole, you're using the wrong word. It's not, you're not intimidating. For women, it actually changes to a different word than it is for guys. For women, as well, in particular, for young, like teen, 20-year-olds, they think they're intimidating. And a lot of us guys look at what they say is intimidating. And we're like, no, we're disgusted. And there's guys, and I'm sure you guys have seen them all the time. They think they're intimidating. And you're sitting there like, dude, you're pathetic. That's everything you're doing, the posturing and everything. That's pathetic. Badasses don't do that. With the exception of one, every one of my combat instructors, especially hand-to-hand instructors, were some of the nicest guys you've ever met. They wouldn't look like they beat your ass, but they'll beat your ass. And the one who acted all tough, I rolled with him before, and I balled his ass up. I was like, why are you the instructor? Anyway, actually, half the class balled him up at one point. Yes, we were doing actual jiu-jitsu. Anyway, I'm getting off the weeds here. Sorry about that, guys. Guard says, like Chris, see, with the full-blown hurting myself to make it look like she with the full-blown hurting herself to make it look like I did. Because who are you going to trust? A 5'3" brunette or a 6'4" farm guy who would probably cripple you? Actually, there's the key right there. I actually had to stand in front of a sergeant major and said, did you actually try to kill this person? I said, Sergeant Major, you forget what I do. If I want him dead, he'd be dead. He has absolutely no combat experience. It was a bar fight and he lost. So he went and found my chain of command. A fucking loser. Guard continues down here with, I did get arrested. Hold on. But So was she and all of her friends. After a bit of questionings, one of them broke and said she slugged herself in the eye to make it look like I did. I think another thing that tore it apart was that there was an imprint of her ring next to her eye. I don't wear rings. She did. Yeah, farm guys don't wear rings. It's too easy to get your fingers ripped off. If anybody who hasn't worked on farm equipment, that shit will, if you're not quick on the trigger, sometimes that stuff will just grab your fingers and just rip a piece of skin clean off. You're just like, wow, good thing I wasn't wearing anything. I like my digits where they are. Okay, right here, Guardian says the crossbow made sustainable rates of fire at range to the longbow. Yes, it did. The only advantage of the crossbow was how easy it was to learn and shoot compared to the longbow. 150% yes. Yes, absolutely. And that's actually why when rifles and smoothbore muskets took over, they were just as easy to learn as the crossbow. Actually, believe it or not, for a long time, you can see in not only the reports, but some of the paintings, the bows and the muskets were used at the same time, just because it hadn't got out of that development phase. Remember I said it's got to reach that cartridge phase before it really phases everything out? And yeah, you're absolutely right. Guard says, okay, enough trauma dumping for me for the rest of the month. You mean until next week? Okay, we'll see you then. Okay. Douglas says, sitting here kibbutzing. I don't know what that means. Don't forget, I speak 3 languages: English, bad English, and infantry. That's it. So yeah. Lena says, can they also fix old people dementia with that? Okay, if you're talking about the regeneration stuff, it is possible. I have not seen anything in particular about the brain. Now, if whatever is causing the dementia is something falling into disrepair instead of just wear and tear from old age, then that falls into regeneration and not rejuvenation. They are very similar, but they are definitely not the same. A person who gets regenerated can grow their entire arm back, no problem, but it's going to be the same age. Well, actually, it'll be younger when it grows back, but it's going to be there. Anyway, the rejuvenation they're talking about, I really don't know. If suddenly a former president of these here United States suddenly stops going from I just did the and then suddenly starts talking in regular sentences again, like he used to. He used to be able to just rant like crazy. Then if he goes back to that, then you know it will. But I have personally not seen any of that. But it is a possibility. I can say this: there are a lot of mental things that cause dementia that are actual damage to the squishy bits inside, and no matter or no amount of rejuvenation is going to fix that. Slow it down for sure, but not fix it. Let's see. Guard says, oh yeah, in other news, we almost had a Polish tractor completely repaired. We just need the filter and the transmission. Cool. That's really cool. A little story on that is that about a month ago, we got a tractor that came from Poland. And I'm trying to remember the actual Polish way of saying, it sings Polaski is the actual name that they say for Poland in their own language. And the only place we could get the parts from was, you guessed it, Poland, which, by the way, is beautiful. If you guys get a chance to go visit Warsaw, please do. It's just gorgeous. He continues. So literally every week we've been getting parts for it because it takes 2 to 3 weeks for each part. Yeah, sounds about right. So far we got the brakes, the shocks, the drive shaft because this thing was mangled. Ooh, boy, that's a big job. And he continues. And if you all have seen the Cat in the Hat movie, scene where he's about to absolutely clobber that kid with the baseball bat. You know how I looked yesterday during the last 45 minutes at work. I can understand that one. Guardian says, I think he's about to fix me here. It's actually being said that in the Revolutionary War, if the common U.S. soldier had used a longbow, they would have had better range and accuracy than the muskets than they actually were using. It's a possibility, yes. Now, the thing with the longbows is, even though they were the best bow for long distance, they were still shooting at long distance. Because the bolt spends so much time in the air, you know as well as I do that it adjusts their trajectory. It's not like Game of Thrones where one guy looks at a couple streamers flapping in the breeze, knocks one arrow, lights it, and fires it, and then turns around, walks away, knowing it's going to land exactly where it needs to. You know, no, it doesn't work like that. However, you're right. If they had actually used those at a reasonable distance and they all let loose at the same time, the casualty rates would have actually been higher. Now, casualty does not mean KIA. That's very important. You get hit with a musket ball in the head, you're pretty much done. You get hit with a broad-tipped bolt in the head, you're going to need stitches, but you're probably going to survive unless it is a perfectly lined up shot. If it's glancing, yeah, you're still going, but you're just bleeding real heavy. And I saw that stat too, Guardian. You are correct. I need to scroll down a little bit more. Actually, I need to give my jaw a break, so let me jump into here and put on this one. Well, that's one way of saying tag you're dead, isn't it? Okay, let me get back to the comment section here. Ooh, shit. Okay. And where was I? This thing loves to jump on me. And there's Brian jumping in saying, hey, how you doing? And we are saying, hey, how you doing back? And you know what? I'm going to have to get a motorcycle sound. I'm going to do that here. Damn it. Motorcycle. I'm going to have to get you a certain sound on here, Brian. Maybe a Harley just revving up right there. Guard jumping in here. He says, I mean, first off, instead of just taking a picture of it and using, oh, he's still talking about his tractor. Okay. Google Translate. The guy is decided, let's try and read the Polish instructions while trying to attach the brakes. Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. Guardian continues with not to mention the longbow had a much higher rate of fire over the musket. 100,000% correct. It is on average between 22 and 25 bolts can be loosed by the time you fire between the first and second shot of a musket. It's actually insane. Now, the thing is, most people in the colonies had been using muskets for so long, they had forgotten how to use a longbow. So they would have to be fired in volleys. Let's see. Guard continues with, I was ready. I swear to God, I was so ready to swing that frickin' wrench. And it wasn't one of those small ones either. It was just a really big, like 10 to 15 pound ones with the long handles. I was right there. It was at that point in the day. Oh, was it?
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
And it looks like we got more people coming in. This with Brian and Joseph and everybody else coming in. And I seen somebody, he cursed me out. He told me to bite him for some reason. Is in there. Let's see. Lena says, this week, I actually watching the research material about famous spicy literature that was written for women. I believe I saw part of that. They were talking about that. Now, I can actually say this. When I used to do some spicy content as commissioned work, and I always usually refer to it as commissioned work because that's the majority of what people wanted. Very few times did they want an actual just regular story, like a science fiction story or something like that. You could actually tell the difference between if it was a man and a woman before you even saw the name. Okay, the only time you saw the name is when the money got transferred. If it was a man, they focused more on not just the plot, as in the plot, but they also focused on the actual plot, character development, and there was very little actual schnook time going on there. It wasn't death by snoo. However, I will say that when it came to the ladies, that was it. It was literally the same thing over and over again. It was, we met, we did dirty things in a place we weren't supposed to. More often than not, she didn't know the name. She didn't even care if she even saw the face. I'm just like, what in the end? Literally, it was just description through the entire thing. And I wouldn't be surprised, Leonid, if you find out that that's the way it was back in the day as well. Now, I'm not an expert on classic spicy literature by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just saying what I've gone through with this sort of thing. So just be aware it's going to get as descriptive as they could for the time. Nowadays, seriously, you guys know where I'm going with this. It gets beyond descriptive. It gets colorful. Almost like two girls with one cup. Okay, Guard says, not to mention they couldn't really make her look as old as she's supposed to be because turns out the the headpiece. You said head piss. The headpiece was almost 15 pounds. And they tried to make it bigger. The weight might cause her to break her neck because for the full size, it would have been around 30 to 36 pounds, the full headpiece. I'm sure you're talking about Ahsoka or whatever. Actually, the original one, yes, you're right. It was that. However, they could make it out of lighter materials. In actuality, when they went back to the drawing board and they made it out of much lighter materials, it actually came out to only about 4 or 5 pounds. No joke. My Kevlar helmet used to weigh more than that with all its stuff on it. But the thing is, it was the actual size. It was up high, and the horns were back like they were supposed to. The tendrils were actually hanging real low. The thing is, those are her fucking ears. So, I mean, if she cannot handle it, get a better actress. And besides, with the amount of clothing they put on her that's not supposed to be there, they could have put on a neck brace like freaking Batman, and then she could just go without moving her neck. I mean, it's bad enough she can't fight anyway. Guard says, nah, I was straight up panicking when I saw that landing ship coming straight towards me. Not sure which landing ship you're talking about, but okay. Let's see. Lena says, I like watching the videos about the call scammers getting hacked and the team on the YouTube channels. Those videos were awesome. Dude, whenever I come across those, they are so funny. Holy crap, they're a riot. Oh, man, they're funny. And what's best is when they answer, hello, my name is Jane. Hello, Asali, or whatever her name is. And they're like, but my name is Jane. No, I know and you're wearing these clothes, and tell whatever the guy is next to you his real name. Tell him, he should really not pick his nose while he's talking on the phone. And she'll turn and look, and all of a sudden, they're freaking out. It's funny. Guys, if you have not seen that, you are missing out. It is absolutely hysterical shit. Oh, man, it's great. The best ones is when they get a hold of somebody who's like a hacker. Like some of you guys are really big hackers. And all of a sudden, the computer system just freaks the hell out. It totally breaks down. And I'm just like, yes. the kicker is the folks who own that, they tried to at one point say they want whoever had hacked those computers and made them not work anymore or invalid or however you want to put it. They need to be extradited to India to face justice. Really? So you were scamming people? No, we never scammed people. He just damaged it. What were they doing? They were trying to sell this, but you're not part of that company, so that's a scam. We're not scammers. And it just went around in circles and circles and circles. It's a whole big thing. And honestly, it's to the point where a lot of people are just saying, bite me, go away. And it's really hurting their economy too. And honestly, if your economy is based on that, it deserves to flop. And there's Guard with, I love those videos. Yeah, they're always funny. Let's see. Demon says, whenever I get a spam call from India, I treat them like they're either a Native American, wrong Indian, or from Pakistan. Indians hate Pakistan. That's true. That's very true. They leave me alone after that. Dude, I totally forgot about that. You're right. Oh man, let me give you an applause on that one. Yes, do that. And just and whenever you get that, say, oh, you're calling from Pakistan. That's a Pakistani accent. You're right. They will hang up on you. It's hilarious. And you know what? Fuck them. Fuck them in the ass with a giant metal dildo covered in spikes. I don't care. Actually, no, that's what they do on Thursdays, so that wouldn't actually be a trouble for them. We'll figure something out. So Guard down here saying, but like, if you guys could hear me talking, because I don't know how to incorporate my headset audio, it's pretty fun. It's pretty funny. Okay. Well, if you're talking about the video stuff you send in, please, guys, don't have any like racial shit on there. If you want to sit there and talk to your clan, and you know, we could hear Demon in the background. He was talking to his buddy as he's blowing up a castle wall. That was fine. Just make sure it's YouTube friendly. That's all I'm asking. Because I have to review them before I can even set them up on here. And if they go too far, I just can't. Let's see. Hold on. The Guardian Sage says,
you need another day off.
Yes, you do. Gar's still talking about the ship coming in. Says, literally, my reaction when I saw it was, oh, fuck me sideways with a fence post. It's a tank. And then me repeating say, help. Oh, shit. It's getting closer. It's getting closer. Ah. Oh, nice one, Brian. Yeah, you're going to go fucking with a fence post. It's a tank. Oh, God. Just, he played off your joke, man. He played off your joke. That's just what that's well done. See, you want more clips? I can give you more clips here. I didn't get too many. How about say where was I? Damn it. Here's the one. Since you guys are talking clips, I have not seen this. I don't even know if the audio works. Okay. I saw it on the comment section before everything started. I was getting everything set up, and I know somebody sent me another one. A little somebody, you know who you are. And yeah, let's hope it's YouTube friendly. Oh, crap. Nope. Damn. Okay, unfortunately, I'm going to have to take that one into the shop and work with it. Chances are the volume is just really, really, really low. Like a lot of those, like say, here's one I had to redo. I don't know what it is about World of Warships does it, but here you go.
I've learned to walk the line between hope and caution. We've had other opportunities that didn't work out, but I will admit, I'm leaning toward hope this time.
Yeah, it would be nice if I had a few more clips. I pulled some off. I got basically the ones, some of the ones from last week, and I got the few I got this week. I only got like 4 this week, new ones. Unfortunately, like you guys seen, I didn't get a chance to take it into my editing software and work with it. So, I mean, it is what it is. So, anyways, yeah, Leonid, you're right. The new updates broke a lot of people's computers and they removed a lot of stuff. It was messed up. It was just messed up. And you're every time there's an update, it fucks everybody's computers up. And Guard says, "Don't look at me. I'm just a messenger. It's the other guy who wants to do it." I'm sure. And I just kind of looked up and saw we got a decent amount of people here tonight. That's good. Appreciate y'all being here. And don't forget, make sure that you are still subscribed. For some reason, I look at the numbers, and I think 3 or 4 times, even during these live streams, you guys have told me that the oh shit, wrong button. That for some reason you're unsubscribed, and I don't know why. What the hell is going on with that? Okay, I hate it when this thing fucking jumps. Okay, here we go. Now, Leonid just asked, "Are you going to write about Arachne in the files?" I could. And by the way, I literally just wrote it down when I saw that. It's right there. So the one with dragons, that was requested. You requested Arachne. So I just have to implement it. If you guys have any other requests, then I will take them. You guys know I'm here for you, because if I don't work for you, you're not here for me, and then we don't work with each other, and it's all bad. So let's see. Guard says there should be sections for everybody's videos, from the most people who sent the most to the person who sent the least. Well, I'd have to go. The thing is, I didn't label them, or I didn't separate them when I relabeled them in my files. I literally have them labeled in number order so I can remember which order they come in. It's just that simple. Yeah. I'd have to go through my emails one by one and double check each one to do that. Let's see. Leonid says, "The new show about the clones is going to be cool." We'll see. All right, you talking the Star Wars clones? We'll see about that. Now, here's one thing I was thinking about. Now, to make a clone of somebody, say you want to, just take the cells from somebody and make a whole new clone, that's easy to do. We've been able to do that since the 1980s. No problem at all. However, how do you transfer yourself into said clone? Well, think of this. All you need is your central nervous system intact, which means your brain, your spine, and the nerves that are attached to it. Preferably your eyes as well, but we'll get into that. What if you take all the other parts and basically melt it away, but you can keep the brain alive? If you can do that, you can literally build the clone around you, and then you have a brand new meat suit to work with. Kind of crazy shit, right? And as I look over...
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Something is right, because the Guardian Sage just sent another $5 super chat. And let me write this down, make sure it's all good. And he says, "Here there be dragons. Do not disturb." You're getting ahead of me. I'm not going to say too much, but it's all, the thing is, it's already recorded. The only thing I'm missing is the part you guys are putting in right now, where you guys send in your super chats. And yes, Steven, I see the whole thing about gargoyles. I was thinking about that before, but and no, it's not going to be like, I can tell you right now, it's not going to be like no Disney gargoyles. It might be a little bit more, how should I put this? Vicious and gruesome and possibly gory. Because gargoyles do not have the most stellar of reputations, and you guys know I actually excuse me. I try to keep to the original lore of whatever species it is. Okay, let's see. What was I missing? Sorry, I scrolled down to the bottom. Now I got to scroll to where I was. Let's see. Guard says, wait, we're getting a new Star Wars series about the clones? Oh, hell yeah. I'll sit down to watch that. I still think the Clone Wars CGI series was the best, was the epitome of Star Wars. I think that was the best they had. And granted, the technology is really goofy, but one of the best things was not only did you get to see the clones, or you get to see Ahsoka grow up, but you see the clones grow up. You got to remember, they're only about 8 or 10 years old at that point. And, you know, yeah, it is what it is. I mean, Rex has one of the best arcs as far as building. He goes from one who will follow orders without question to the one to stand up to that four-armed fuckhead who tries to get the two clone legions to beat the shit out of each other. And he has one of the best speeches there, where he's like, I need to stay loyal to your command, but I have another loyalty to protect the men. And what was it? Is shit. Let me say it right. That cost us men, and he pulls it us, not clones, men, and he's like really into that. That voice actor did just I can't say he did. He did such a good job. I'm fumbling over my fucking words. Okay. War Sniper says Rambo was still good. All movies were good. Yeah, I still think when he walked back down the road to his house, it literally wrapped everything back. He came full circle at that point. That's where they should have left it. That, me personally, I think that's where they should have left it. Leonid says, Star Wars The Last Clones. I found the trailer for the show. I heard that they were making ones, but I didn't think they were going to actually do it. Huh. We'll see how good it goes. If they do, there's going to be or I should say, if they do it right, there's an extremely heartbreaking scene that everybody I know who sends me clips like, hey, you got to see this, you got to read this. I'm like, whatever. And I was just like, dude, I actually responded, that broke my heart. So I'm not going to say which one it is. I'm going to let you guys find out. But yeah. Demon saying, fucking spam callers. I just got 7 calls in a row and it crashed my phone. How do you crash a phone? Did you throw it across the room and it crashed against the wall? Leon says, I like street racing games with challenges where you need to drive into opposite traffic or it's do or crash. Yeah. You know, like Cruising USA back in the day. That was a good one where you actually had to weave in and out of traffic. Some of it's coming back towards you. Although you didn't crash and crunch your car, you crashed and kind of tumbled in the old video game style. He continues with overtaking challenges is also cool. I like racing games. However, the one thing I don't like is that if you're actually playing a video game in like a Dave and Buster's or whatever, they have we call it a catch circuit. It's not a catch circuit. It's part of the software. So if you're way out in front, it's either going to pull your opponents closer to you or it's going to slow you down. So you don't get this huge, massive, holy shit lead in front of everybody. Mario Kart is notorious for this. Just play Mario Kart and see against somebody who can't play very well, and you'll see that suddenly they're going to be behind you a lot. All right. Let's see. Demon says, now YouTube is messing up constant playback errors, so I can see chat but no video. What? That's bullshit. Dude, you're going to have to back all the way out and reinstate. That's all I can say. I've had the same thing on when I'm on MGTOW TV. They have the same issues, and you just have to back fully out and go back in. Usually that fixes it. We got War Sniper again. Sin, did you get the clip I sent in? And it's ready for the live stream. I know for sure you're gonna like it. If it came in after I started, I cannot get it because even getting one picture like this very nice butt took all the time I had. Actually, I deliberately picked the longest running video I had, and I could download one picture. So getting an actual video, I wouldn't be able to see the screen. It takes up everything while you guys are watching that. I just need to set up a multi-screen system, but it is what it is. All right. Save. It's going to be for next week then, as long as I got it. He continues with, it's very, very sneaky. Very, very. Bite me. Says, how about the Katolf repeating flintlock rifle from 1680? 30 54 caliber shots. Yes. Yes, that was a repeating flintlock rifle. I've never actually seen one fire without it exploding. However, yes, it worked. It literally was click fire, click fire, click fire, click fire. And when they actually put just a little extra device in there, it was literally fire, fire, and you had to kind of slide it sideways. Fire, 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 fire. And it was a lot of fire down range. The problem is you had a very high chance of that barrel getting too hot and cooking off your shot. And if it did, you also had a good chance of losing some digits. And eventually the metal, since it wasn't all that strong, would get so hot, it would get pliable and then pop. Not so good. But yes, we did have those. It was extra. As far as I know, there was very few of them actually made. The only ones I seen on like YouTube was they were firing one real fast and they wanted to see how fast they can make it go. And this is one the guy built and it still exploded when it wasn't supposed to. He literally was sliding things into position and the next round blew up in the chamber. It was not fun to watch. Everybody's okay, but still, that's because you wear iPro out there. Let's see. Douglas says, oh, lovely video. Oh, lovely video died and won't restart. YouTube is sending me an error. Really? That's weird. Yeah, you're right. You're not alone. I don't know what the hell's going on with that. It might be because I keep trying to add stuff on into the pictures, to show how awesome you guys are. But, yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. That's weird. Demon says, I want to cook dinner while listening, but now I'm trapped on my laptop or on my desktop. Oh, that's terrible. And it keeps going in and out. What? Why? Usually StreamYards is pretty good. They don't screw us up that bad, but we'll see. Leonid jumps in about cavalry. He says, cavalry on mechanized horses, i.e. bikes. We don't really use bikes. The only people I've ever known to use bikes, dirt bikes, or anything like that was the SF guys. And that was 10th group over in Colorado. And wow, what a bunch of idiots. And honestly, from what I could see, they were not very skilled on the damn things either. They should have just kept with the ATVs. They do not, I hate to say this, but they do not impress at all. Let's see. Demon said, of course, my last stream, I can be a part of YouTube and spam calls screwed up. Yeah. Ain't that always the case? Douglas finally got video, has restarted. Okay, good. Did you have to go through the whole thing? And, oh, Ava's here. Ava's here. Hey, there she is. Hey, how you doing? And why the video down? What video? I don't know. What video? Maybe it's this video. Ooh, wrong one. I still say the only reason you got clipped at the end is, dude, it's shoot and move. You don't stay out in the open. That's why the whole thing about you don't follow guys like me into the trees. I still remember that, and the MPs tried to follow us, and you just hear the yelling, "Don't follow them in the trees! Do not follow them in the trees! Don't let those dogs loose! Don't you ever don't go in the tree!" That's where we do our business. But yeah, apparently that's fairly common when they just chase a bunch of us. We know where we're going to be safe. Let's see. War Sniper says, yeah, I don't know. I don't have the issue. Yeah, well, at least not everybody's having the issue, which is a bonus. Let's see. Chris wants me to add the link to the other now the thing with the other channel, I mean, I could. The kicker is just understand that channel in particular, and I will, hopefully I didn't just lose you guys. Did I do? Okay. I'm trying to pull it up at the moment. I'm going to actually send you a link to one of the videos here, if I can open it up. And it's, oh, you bastard. Oh, nope, wrong channel. Come on. Okay, please tell me I didn't lose you. I didn't lose you? Hopefully we're good. Let's see. Shorts, there we go. And sorry, guys, I don't mean to suddenly be quiet. I just want to. Okay, I'm going to post the link to one of the videos in my other channel. However, I want you guys to remember that is not escapism. It is very social and political and shit like that. So if you like me, you might not want to watch, but I am going to post it. You wanted it, you get it. Yes, you get just like excuse me. Oh shit. Too much soda. So anyway, let's see. Yeah, you and Doug are having the same issues. I don't know why. Lena says, I did find an isekai anime where the protagonist was an author who wrote her own isekai, and they got stuck. An opponent, and then she got an appointment with Truck-kun. Yeah, she became an isekai character. Okay, that's interesting. Although if I ended up in my own isekai, I'd probably lose my damn mind, unless I was the actual healing type. Although don't get me wrong, I wouldn't mind being a incubus kind of guy, but with all the crazy shit that goes on there, I'd probably be all sorts of angry. Okay, War Sniper says, I have that sin. His stream sometimes crashes on my side. I have to get completely back into YouTube to fix it. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, guys. Whatever issues you guys are having, I apologize because I can't control that. I can't control the server. Let's see, Lena says, people were using spears and their swords were a secondary weapon. Yeah. That's actually true. Reason being is distance. It's literally down to simple range. Because if you look again, I want to look at the evolution of on the water. You had originally things like fire ships. Let me do this in order. You had boarding parties when you actually used to ram into ships, like back in the Greek era, and you would actually go up and slice and dice everybody. Then you had fire ships along with arrow carrying ships. Originally, the ones when they crashed into each other, bows and arrows were new technology. They weren't trusted. So again, fire, bows and arrows. Eventually, you moved all the way up to cannons, and then your cannons got really big as far as battleships and dreadnoughts and whatnot. Then you moved to aircraft carriers. What's more lethal than the aircraft carrier? Surprisingly, a missile, either destroyer or cruiser. Those things, the range is even farther and just about or even more lethal. So again, there's that evolution that goes along with it. But yes, that's why the spears were the number one. You want to keep the enemy away from you. Because if you can get them before they get you, you win. Yeah, Chris, apparently everybody's having issues tonight. So first, I don't know why YouTube's giving you guys so much problem. It's weird. Yeah, modern tech at its finest. I like that. That's pretty good. And uninstall and reinstall. Yeah. Yep. There's everyone saying hi, Dave. Hey, been a while since we've seen you. You took a little hiatus there. Of course, you know, most of what you had before was the whole Helldiver stuff. But whatever. Hey, as long as you're here, right? Let's see. And she says, here's something for you, Sin, in regards to space combat. The stages starting with 1, scouting, 2, the hunt, i.e. submarine time, 3, opening shot, 4, the joust, 5, the turnaround, and 6, the brawl. I believe you're using different verbiage than I do, but you're pretty close to what would be there. Now, 1 and 2 are pretty much the same thing. So I personally would merge those. Now, the opening shot, that comes into what's known in naval is first strike advantage. Okay, you get that first shot on target before the enemy does, you have a much higher chance of winning. Now, when you're using at long distances, the opening shot, that's the I don't really call it brawl. That's a slug match. You're literally trying to outshoot the enemy with just massive amounts of firepower. If you're talking about the joust where they get in close to each other, if you're using big guns like that, you're not going to use a joust. You're going to, well, unless you're trying, for some reason, just trying to desperately close the distance yourself. I could see where that could happen, so I'm not going to throw that one away. Now, as far as the brawl, I wonder if you're talking about what's known as a furball, if that's what you're talking about, where literally everybody's everywhere. There's no direction where you're not shooting. I would wonder if that's where it was. Aside from that, yeah, I got no problems with the way you're putting this down. And yeah, that's pretty much how it all goes. Yep, everybody's saying hi. Ava continues, you can optimize a ship for one of these, but not all. Yes, actually, that's the reason for a frigate. Frigates are, in science fiction, frigates are specialized craft. Either their torpedo, or their missile, or their mine layer, or their direct fire, maybe their signal, whatever it might be. But that's what frigates are there for. Destroyers are there to be fast, agile, and put a whole bunch of hurt. And cruisers are just there to be the intermediary between true battleship and destroyer. And then, well, dreadnoughts have another name. I think it's, oh shit, what is that? Let's see. Lena says, don't they have modern weapons for that? Don't they have modern weapons for that time in the Civil War? Yeah. A lot of the stuff in the Civil War was experimental. Just like the ironclad ships were experimental for their time. And they proved that battleships had a place out there. And one of those ironclads was the reason why turrets became a thing. I'm trying to remember exactly the name of it. It says like the Marne or something. See, Chris says, they actually had repeating rifles, but only a few used them. Yep. It came down to the government already bought the muskets. Yep. You use what you can. You do what you can with what you got. Oh, yes. Please write her into the story, Chris. Please, 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 please. You don't need to, Chris, but if you want, East Down, make me some sort of stereotypical type. Yeah. Well, they already missed putting you in the You know what? I'm sorry. I laugh my ass off every time I hear it or every time I think about it, because the first time I read it, I actually had to put the paper down, seeing somebody come out in a fishnet shirt, chaps, and a red Speedo. And now he's a walking disco ball. I'm like, what am I reading? Oh, shit, that was funny. Let's see. Warsnip says, I have to correct you, Sin. The plot is the woman's asset near her rear. You know what? If I could, I'm going to actually bring in one of these that says it. And hopefully that uploads here in a second. Continues, even I know how much you love the rear of the woman. Actually, this whole butt thing came from a buddy of mine. He runs a different podcast and he came up with that one. But I asked him and I could use it. So, yeah. I'm not really a butt guy. It's not really my area. Anyways, oh, a quest giver for Ava? Maybe she'll drop in all of a sudden. Lena says, oh, that I thought I could have used a bleach from my brain after 2 girls, 1 cup. Yeah. I can't believe somebody actually posted the video. It's me standing there. As they're like, hey, Sarah, watch this. What are they doing? That's not right. You need help. And I just walked out, and and they're like, how come he's not freaking out? Oh, the shit I seen by that point, I didn't care. Chris says, I stand by India has the best food. If it doesn't shoot through your backside, sure. Dean says, yeah, my friend is in one of the videos, said he wanted to be a pole dancer. Yeah. That was a little disturbing. Let's see. Lena says the book was about a woman who had a romantic relation. Oh yeah, I heard about this one. Yeah, trying to remember. It's like farm milking or unicorn milking. It's something about milking. They literally put a minotaur on a milking table, and it's the main character's job to give him a hands-on experience. I need a minute. That's disturbing. Okay. If you really wanted to see that and wanted to actually have a fun part of that, look up on, and you can find it on YouTube. Somebody did a action comic on this, one called The Pro, and there's a extra one that goes with it called The Ho. The Ho one actually falls into this. And honestly, I think they're both kind of, but they're fun to read and they're fun to watch. And I kind of wish there was more of it. But I don't think there is. Anyway, Guard says, playing Generation Zero while listening to this, and I swear I wish I recorded it. I just watched my character get hit right in the face with a railgun and pinball off like 6 different trees before coming to a stop about 30 feet away from where he was once standing. Oy. I don't think he made it. Worst ever. Yes, and I turned the audio low on my games, but by me, the level of audio is just fine. Yeah, I have the same issue, guys. So sometimes if the audio is actually low on the video, I don't hear it. It's literally one. I literally grab and swipe just to set something. And if I forget to set it, I hear it fine, but you guys don't. That's my fault on that. So trust me, War Sniper, you're all good. I'm not gonna fault you for that. See, Sniper says, Sin, can you do a file of a, hold on, let me get my notes here. Okay, can you do a file of a unusual situation of a dragon and a yeah, gee, I should have seen this one coming, no pun intended. And when your character meets the Kitsune, He finds out she is marked by a dragon. And what's that imply? Okay, hold on. I can okay, so Kitsune marked by dragon. Okay. I will see what I can do. I got it right here next to gargoyles. Okay, that's a Y, not an I. I should have known that. Davis says, someone won a box of paper dragons. Now, here's the thing. The SCP did that one. I actually know that one. And that one's a heartbreaker right there. What happened to the dragons? Mark safe. And yeah, if you guys want, I'm not going to rehash what the SCP stuff does if I can help it. That's just one that kind of stuck with me. It's a good story though. It's pretty good. Let's see. Demon says, I wouldn't have it any other way. Let's see. Lena says, why not just make cyborg body around the old brain? Then you can just upload yourself digitally, because the brain's not digital at that point. The brain is still biological. There is the link between the two that still hasn't been mapped yet, at least as far as I know. I wouldn't be surprised if it was. Really wouldn't be surprised if it was. And hold on, I need to back off here for a second. So how about a little bit of EMP time? All right. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. Lena here says, I do prefer racing games with the setting that would allow me to set it to kilometers an hour. You would go real fast. I still remember driving a Corvette where there was a switch in the front, literally switch from miles to kilometers an hour. When I crossed over into Canada, that came in real handy, real fast. Of course, it was a 86 Corvette. 86. I'm trying to remember, it was an 86 or an 88. No, 86. Sorry. The numbers are screwed up in my head. Okay, Guardian says, I remember playing a racing game on the PC years ago. I think it was a type of street racing game on Hot Wheels game. I don't remember much, except there was a futuristic hover car that was a secret unlock. The hover car was a super cool and super fast, but it was hell trying to steer because the drift. I'm drifting, man. I'm drifting around the corners, man. So basically it's like trying to fly a hovercraft. Which, by the way, a lot of people start freaking out about the, I'm trying to remember the name of it. There's a hovercraft in Battletech. Everyone's like, oh no, you can't use it because you move so fast, nobody can hit you, this, that, and the other thing. There is such an easy way to fix that problem that, again, if you're going to go that fast, you can only go in a straight line, and your number of points that make it hard to hit is off. If you got to turn, you got to actually slow down, or if you go through a woods, you're slowed down to a certain percentage that makes it easier to hit. They need to nerf it. They made it too strong. God damn. Savannah Master, that's what it is. The Savannah Master hovercraft system. Let's see. Lena says, I watched the British Royal Museum of Firearms, and then I learned about musket repeater. That gun was promising. Guard says, our awesomeness is killing the chat. Oh, you know what? Now I kind of, you know what? I got to put that one on here for the soundboard. I got Cartman, I got motorcycle. I got to put awesome. Or maybe one of the ones from How I Met Your Mother. Suit up, you know. And you guys are awesome, all you bad motherfuckers out there. All right. Chris says, just subscribe to the Crazy Uncle. Thank you. I appreciate that very much. Oh, excuse me. Whew, that's coming up on me. Demon says, dinner is done now. I can happily eat and finish the stream before bed. Yeah. Well, I'm glad everybody's with me. Still got a decent amount of folks as I look to see exactly how many people are on this ship anyhow. And let's see. Eric is here, says, Truck Coon and Driver got their own story now. Okay, why not? And let's see. Oh, by the way, when you guys brought up the whole idea of somebody going into their own isekai, if I was told I was going to be going into one of my own isekais that I wrote, I would be like, okay, which one? Please be specific, because certain ones are kind of weird. Remember, I told you I used to do commissioned work. Anyway, let's see. Demon says, okay, now that I'm done with all this crap, Ninja Gaiden series started in 1988. It was Dark Souls, aka super hard, a skill base before Dark Souls. And I hear Dark Souls is an extremely tough game. Never played it, but I keep hearing a lot. He says, love and hate the series. Good story. They got easy. In later installments, though. Okay. And he continues down here with, oh shit, I just found out Ninja Gaiden 4 is coming out October 21st. I was clearly not paying attention. Well, again, it's the only video game I know of out of all the ones I looked into in the past week that actually has something positive in the reviews. So go crazy. Ava says, the joust is where both ships are closing into optimal range, but due to velocity, they often pass each other. The turnaround is what happens after the joust in order to gain a cheap shot before the slug match happens. I'm not sure I get that, because if they're trying to get within optimal range, because of the range of space-based weapon systems, you're talking even at light speed, it's going to take a couple seconds for it to strike. Because of that, even at the fastest FTL, you would start your slug match long before you even got close to passing each other. So I'm not sure where this goes. I mean, is it possible if somebody jumped into a system at FTL and you just kind of bypassed each other real quick? Yeah, that's absolutely possible. That's 100% possible. But I don't. Yeah, I don't see it. Let's see. It says, sorry, 150 character limit is a pain to describe such a complex combat system. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And let's see. Guard says, oh boy, my next 2 days are going to be fun. That's for sure. Got movie night tomorrow with some of my friends. And then the day after that, going to the theater with another friend to go watch Black Phone 2. I never watched the first one, so I got nothing. Most horror movies make me fall asleep. So, yeah. If that's what you're going to watch, hey, more power to you. I hope you enjoy. Let's see. And it's actually, I gotta say this. It was kind of funny when you know Star Wars is dead, when your 10-year-old nephew falls asleep watching the movie. You know it's bad if it can't keep a kid's attention. Let's see. Lena says, dreadnoughts were a cursed ship because they had made the first one. Suddenly, everybody wanted to build theirs too. Yep. That's true. But then again, they were built in the time where battleships and dreadnoughts like themselves were actually viable. Demon says, I also love Dead or Alive fighting games. It's also funny how the Ninja Gaiden universe has the same universe as DOA and DOA Extreme Volleyball games. Oh, God, I remember when that came out. Oh, geez, that was funny. And they made it seem like every teenage boy was going to be sitting there playing the volleyball games and trying to win just to watch the girls do like a 5-second dance, having to pull friggin' pillows over their groins to stop from showing that they're popping wood. That shit was hilariously funny. Oh, man. And the thing is, I was a young kid at that point. Oh, shit. I'm like, dude, it's pixels on a screen. I know it's much more lifelike than the original Lara Croft, like that, the original Lara Croft. But what the hell, man? Just I'm glad you brought that up. I totally forgot about it. Okay, here's our history lesson. Thank you for bringing this up, Brian, because I had totally screwed this up. The Monitor fought the ironclad CSS Virginia, formerly called the USS Merrimack, okay? The Monitor, if I remember correctly, is the one, it sat very, very low. It actually had iron going below the waterline, and it had a turret with a dual cannon system. Now, they were very big cannons, but they were not as big as the guy who designed it wanted. And that's actually one of the problems they had, is because the system that was supposed to move the cannons forward and allow them to slide back after firing was actually had to be redesigned to push the muzzle farther forward because it was designed for a bigger cannon. And a lot of those guys went completely deaf because it was just on the outside of the actual of the metal shielding. So when it fired, all that concussion still came back towards them. Because of that, they were at point blank range, and neither of them could get a actual piercing hit. The cannon balls at the time, and yes, they still use just balls. They didn't actually have piercing rounds yet. They didn't understand. So it was very well noted, both of them, they would sit there and actually count the shots from the inside of the ship. And they're like, oh, son of a bitch. Let's see. Ava continues here with, I'm getting my motorcycle in a few months. It's likely going to be a Yamaha YZF R3 in Luna White and Nebula Blue. And it's a nice 2-wheeled therapy machine. I'm sure the vibration from the engine will help. Sorry, that's an easy joke. That was a low blow. Okay, that was, I don't know, a dirty joke. Sorry. And there's Chris. Cool. Just be careful. And yes, be careful on it, please. And please, even if you don't have a helmet law in your state, please wear one. Okay, I know a lot of guys, especially if you ride hogs, a lot of people don't like wearing a helmet, but I've known personally multiple people who did not make it because they were riding their bike, they got clipped, and they didn't make it because they weren't wearing a helmet. Okay, just please do. I don't like, I hate funeral detail. Let's just say it that way. I hate funeral detail. Okay, let me break here. War Sniper. With if I want to see a Minotaur get milked, I will search up how cow women, at least it's kink. God. I don't even want to finish reading that. I just ceasefire, man. Ceasefire. It's disgusting. Yeah, I really don't understand the whole thing about some monster bit that does. And if you saw let me phrase this right. The actual artistry is done to show what this thing is supposed to look like. It does not look in any way, shape, or form human, except for the fact that it stands on 2 legs and has a straight spine. It is still a cow. Okay? I'm just going to say that one again. It's still a cow. Every single part of it is a cow. It just speaks words and stands on 2 legs. That's the only difference here. And now she's going to sit there and go, yeah, this is a good job here. It's messed up. Let's see. Demon says, oh, yeah, they also had to tie in with the Warriors Orochi games, so they were canon now as well. Okay. was a spin-off of the Dynasty Warriors game. Okay, I didn't know that. That's good to know. Ava says it's mostly pearl white color with a color shift paint that's purple and blue. Okay. That sounds like it's really going to make a splash. But she hasn't got it yet. Eric's back. Says, finally able to chat. Let me get a good one here.
Good evening, sinners.
Oh, how about this one?
Good evening, sinners.
There you go. Yep, I knew Brian would jump in there. Enjoy the ride. Yeah, always do. And then War Sniper says the SCP Paper Dragon story is very sad. Yes, it is. If you're in a good mood and you want to stay there, do not listen to it. War Sniper says, "Damn, those clips are loud." Really? The video clips are loud. Really? Oh yeah, that one was really loud. How about say what's one that might not be so loud? Let's go to the ocean. We saw that one already. How about this one?
Didn't work out, but I will admit I'm leaning toward hope this time. Brace for impact. One disaster after another on this ship. Battleship, identify yourself. Stand down, repair teams. I need some coffee. Target.
Every time I see that, I keep thinking, run, little guy, run. He's firing at you. Run, little guy, run. Anyways, let's see here. Erica's here. She says, in the files, are the nephew and niece siblings or cousins that act like siblings? Also, the two of them being told the same story would be fun. Also, the nephew is going to become. Also, is the nephew going to become a hunter? Also, what happens when a hunter goes rogue? I actually wasn't going to be talking about those, but I can. Hunter question mark goes rogue. Yeah, that's well, yeah. I wasn't really going to go too much into them, but I mean, I can. And I can. That's not a problem at all. It might take a couple episodes for me to get into that sort of thing, but yeah. Or I should say, but I will get there. Let's see. Chris says, if I wrote a file, it would be about the Honey Island Swamp Monster. It's Luigi and Cajun Bigfoot with the best name ever. Is that like a honey badger? Or just don't give a fuck? Let's see. Ava here. I'd like to point out hovercraft turn like they're on ice, and they can turn at high speed, but it's more like a writing cartography or calligraphy when you master or drunkenly painting when you're first trying. Yeah, you're right. I've been on a hovercraft before a couple times, and more than once I've actually had to spin the thing the opposite way because you can lose control of those things as you're trying to turn really, really easy. And I will say this, the guy who it was actually his hovercraft. He actually was yelling at me. He's yelling, spin, 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 because I was heading back towards him and I didn't know what lever to pull to turn the fan off. And I was just going to kind of coast on back onto the beach. And no, he's literally just yelling, spin, spin, spin. So I turned back around and the fan's maybe 20 feet from him. And thankfully, I ended up taking off in the other direction. I came back and I was like, dude, teach me, because I don't want to hurt anybody on this. And he did. He gave me an extra class. I went out there another time. It was a lot easier. Let's see. Eric says, how about a bazinga for a soundboard? I can try doing that one. And considering what's on here, bazinga, bazinga, bazinga. Okay, I'm done with that. I will see what I can do on that. It's just what's available. I'm not going to spend $10 on one little 2-second soundbite. Guard says, oh God, not here be dragons from SCP universe. God, that story makes me depressed. Yes, it does. Joseph says, SCP has many onion ninjas. Swaya! They make you cry. Yes, I know that's what that means, onion ninjas. And yeah, a couple, how do I put this? If I had done the original way that something familiar was supposed to change to, I guarantee you guys would have probably hated me for it. I will say, I can say this, that Scarlet would not be still around. It would have been rather gruesome. And when I said that thing was going to turn dark, I actually lightened it a little bit because it was going to get beyond fucking dark. And yeah, you don't want to see an incubus when he's totally fucking pissed off like that, especially one who has dragon and phoenix abilities hardwired into his body. Guard says, in short, in the SCP universe, there was a box that's pretty much a pocket dimension to a fantasy world where the dragons are actually dragons. But in our world, they're origami dragons. Yes, because they lose their strength because we aren't going into their dimension. There's a whole big lore dump in that whole thing, and it's been a while since I heard it, so I don't want to go any deeper. But they were actually looking, wondering where the hell we were. And yeah. Erica says, Ava, hey, sorry I was unable to keep up with the chat. Also, your bike sounds amazing. Yeah, it does, actually. You wouldn't want to ride it around here, though. These roads are not bike friendly. Oh, God, no. Too many big trucks go down these roads, and they just turn those corners really wide. Let's see, Lena says, I think I watched all kinds of anime with the objects made into girls, ships, tanks, planes, horses, and for some reason, guns too. Yes, Azure Lane, I believe that one's called. Yeah, that it's interesting. Guard here is continuing on with the dragons. He says, and one of the most depressing parts about it is that near the end of the SCP story, smoke starts coming out of the box, and one paper dragon that looks like it was held up to a lighter for too long flies out and unfolds itself, revealing that a war has broken out into their world, and the dragons are pretty much dropping like flies, and that this may just be their last message to them. One thing that makes the most depressing out of all of it is how when it does that, everyone in the facility hears a disembodied voice saying, "Goodbye, our friends." And everybody just knew. Yep. Whoever wrote that knew how to friggin' punch you right in the feels, I tell you. Let's see. War Sniper says, Singh goes into his isekai and finds out that literally some of the characters that are based off his YouTube community are those people. Me, being my dragon, meeting Sin, is going to be interesting. Well, the thing is, you wouldn't know it's me. I know it's you. But in that situation, yeah, it was more of a reborn in another world, not really summoned, but it's still in another world, so it counts. Lena says, I have been watching Red Alert Girls with the game represented on different anime girl vehicles. It was cute. I don't think I've ever seen it, so I can't say nothing. Demon says, that's one of the reasons we have a rear Mac that can shoot without turning around and can defend yourself while running away. Run away, run away. Yeah, that's why you always have something behind you to watch your back. Says, when I was a kid, every time I watched the movie Stealth, I fell asleep halfway through the movie. It took me 3 years to finish that movie. You know what movie I never actually finished? Titanic. When it was brought into the house, it was 2 VHS tapes. I put the first one in. I got to the point where they're loading up the boat. I said, oh, that's kind of cool. Where's the whole... Yeah. And I was out. I woke up to... I'm like, what the hell? So I pulled that out. I put that in the rewinder. So I'm like, what the hell is this? I put the next one in. They're like, oh, the boat hit the iceberg already. I guess the movie's over. And I was just out. I again woke up. I'm like, oh, well, whatever. End up watching, once the internet became a thing, I watched the only good part of the entire thing. And you guys know exactly which part I'm talking about. Just to see what all the fuss was about, I said, okay, and then moved on. Let's see. Demon here says, when I was a kid, every time oh, that's right. I just saw that. Let's see. I owned Extreme Volleyball 1 through 3. 3 was Japanese exclusive. The announced 4, but also Japanese exclusive and much harder to get my hands on. As I say that, I just want to say, okay. Erica says, with the files, could you please make the MIB, the Men in Black, absolute asses? I have a beef with Men in Black. Yeah. Don't worry. That part's meeting the boss or everyone else that actually is going to happen. Believe it or not, there was one episode of the files went into another series. And I'm trying to remember, it's actually 2 different, it's, how do I put this? There were 2 series that merged together, but in the files, you find out that the main character from the files was actually at that area with them, and he saw the whole thing take place. And it's the one where the guy accidentally, or when he hooked up with this woman, and somehow, and they still don't know how, he became basically infected with the demon gene, and it changed him, and he became a demon himself. And it's like, and everyone's like, what the hell? And yeah, it all comes into dealing with the heads, the siren heads. As soon as I wrote that first one and I put everything together, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to top this. So every time I talk about this, it's always going to come back. So anyways, sorry, I got a little sidetracked there. Demon says, Steam made 4 available in the US servers, but they realized what they did and removed it and refunded me, sadly. See, that is why I don't like downloadable content, okay? If I want a game, I want a disc with everything on it, and I want to put it in the machine, and I want it to work. Because if you're up with Steam or Xbox Live or whatever other system, they can literally just say, no, I know you bought it, but it's not yours. Click, it turns off. Fuck you. You know, that's like social credit score bullshit. You know, no, just absolutely not. See, Demon says, my mom died because she didn't have a helmet. So I fully agree with you, Sin. Wear your helmet, please. And to that, you know what we got to do? Raise your glasses if you got one. And here's to your ma, Demon. May she find a good take on her next assignment. Okay. Yeah. Leading us up here, I think I would really like to watch a Twilight movie where you replace Edward with a cat, but keep everything else exactly the same. In that movie, Bella ignores Edward because of the cat. War Sniper says, Sin, I mean, a woman with cow horns, cow ears, and cow tail, but everything else, she's human with some very mature assets. And we know which assets you're talking about. And I don't mean the ass in assets. No. I think endowments was more what you were looking for. And yeah, see, therein lies the difference between the way most guys look at that situation, between most women look at that. We can't get, since we're visual, much more visual, we can't get past that area. Even if you took an actual like dragon and gave her, you know, all the bumpy, squishy parts of a woman and had her walk on two legs, the majority of guys would still say no. Just no. It ain't going to happen. No, absolutely not. But hey, or I should say, oh, did I click on that? But to each their own, right? I can't say anything on that. To each their own. As long as it's two consenting adults, I don't give a shit. Let's see. Lena says, Titanic movie with the cat replacement. That would be great too. It would be just a movie with a guy spending his time with a cat. Well, Leonardo DiCaprio did spend his last hours with some other piece of pussy, so I guess that works. You know, pussy's pussy. Anyways, and if you didn't laugh at that, something's wrong. Okay, Lena says, are your witches based on the American witches? I thought of them summoning demons was kind of obvious. Witches throughout history have summoned others to do their bidding since time immemorial. Like I said before at the beginning of the live stream, when I talked about witches in general, there are so many subsections of witches, I could not put them all in. Okay. There is your, you know how they said, are you a good witch or a bad witch? There's also what's considered the gray witch, the neutral witch. And by the way, those are not the same thing. They sound the same, but they're not. There's very big definitions between the two. Regardless, just with that, you can see how complex it can start to get. Different witches focus on different things. Some will pull from nature, some pull from people, you know, some are able to draw from themselves. It's all a big mess. So was it leaned more towards American witches? Not really. I just wanted to show that, honestly, I wanted to get in the difference between the standard, basically beginner witch and one who basically knows their stuff. That was the point of the original story. That's why the teacher was involved. So that's why I did all that. Anyways, Demon says, anyone remember the movie Mimic from 1997? A monster that could be cool for the files, actually, or actual D&D mimics. I could try that. mimics. I got it written down now. That's actually not hard to do. It would be, I don't know. Let's see. Demon says D&D mimics are actually far scarier than people realize. They can be anything, not just chess. And yes, believe it or not, that's one of the key things with gargoyles is you would think, is that a statue or is that a living thing? Well, most gargoyles don't actually need to breathe. So that's why they can stay perfectly still. However, you see it on YouTube once in a while, the little like 1 or 2 minute clips of the girl gargoyle. That shit's funny. That's just funny. See. Demon continues with, and I mean any non-living object. Repeat, any non-living object. Yeah, it's true. It's very, very true. Could be the floor, could be the wall, could be that sword you're about to pick up before it bites your hand off. Yeah. Erica is there in a home brew. The mimic was captain of the guard. Yeah. That's honestly horrifying. Let's see. Demon continues. He says, and if I remember correctly, they do have intelligence and can work in groups. Depends on which lore you look at. Just like the witches have different categories, it's the same thing with mimics. It's actually, how do I put this? There's so many subspecies mixed in with every single species that has its own lore, it has its own culture, it has its own hell, some of them have their own freaking languages that when you look into fantasy creatures, you will get a headache. If you want to stay with the original and you don't want to just break off and just do your own thing and say to hell with the lore, you're just going to be like, wow, what in the ever-loving snot rockets is going on? So you got to pick and choose when you do these. Because if you put them all in, you're just going to confuse the piss out of everybody. Let's see. Demon says, and technically, if I remember correctly, they can even be a full-blown house. So they can get really big. Sorry, got a little excited. I hope that doesn't mean you're typing with one hand. Anyways, yeah, I still remember listening, and this is before I even started the channel. Somebody did a horror thing where an actual a mimic was a house, and it was following him and his compatriot through the woods, and they were trying to actually figure out a way to kill this thing because they didn't have enough ordnance and they couldn't call for backup. It was actually a pretty good story, and the way they solved it was actually interesting. Lean says, if you think about it, Gen 1 MLP was an isekai, and the other generations were reverse isekai. That's interesting. Guard says, damn, everyone, it's almost 9. Where am I at? It's probably the longest one yet. Yeah, it probably is. But I'm looking at the number of viewer counts not going down, and we're still going down the comment section. There's still some in here. I could throw some more media in here if I wanted. Actually, you know what? That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to go in. I'm going to throw in. What am I going to throw in? Say this one. Saw that one already. No, we didn't. Oh, we did. Sorry about that. How about this one? Now, right there, using the berm as a shield, basically, because your weapon is elevated, dude, that is the smartest thing you could have done. That is absolutely the smartest thing you could have done. Arcing your shots right over the berm like that, friggin' chef's kiss, good. Mwah, that was perfect. Let's see, on here, Leonid, for the Gen 4, they had a villain that was voiced by the Q from Star Trek. No shit. I didn't know that. Let's see. Demon says, so if that's the case with the isekai thing, I'm either a demon or a PAI. Okay. I'm not, you know what? You could also be the ship, the SS Demon, which would, well, that would basically make you an AI too, wouldn't it? I guess. You know, that was actually, believe it or not, guys, that was one of the first requests I got was from SS Demon. He's like, can you do something with my handle? I was like, okay. And honestly, the way he has it, SS Demon, is first thing that went to mind was a boat. And I'm like, okay, well, this is a sci-fi channel, so we're not going to be on the ocean now, are we? And it was that. Demon saying to Erica, oh, I love it. If they could mimic things, that makes them so much worse. Yes, it does. Because you never know if you're going to sit on anything. It's going to bite you right in the ass, literally. War's never said, yeah, I would be occupied by my Kitsune wives or be rarely living in my realm. Hey, Sin, when is that healer going to enter my realm? I'm waiting for that season to drop. I don't know if I can do the whole enter another realm thing, because again, I'm in the middle of this one. It just might be a long time. I've got the next like 2 or 3 episodes are already digging around in here. It just, like I said before, takes a long time to write them. Let's see, Lena, did you know that the roads in Fallout 4 are so broken that you don't really know how people drive on them before the war? I'm guessing turn the wheel straight, hit the gas, drive on it. Yeah, but okay. Good to know. I don't know if I've ever played the Fallout games before. Well, no. I think I played the first one at the intro, but by the time I actually set up the character and actually got out of the bunker, then I think it's time to leave, and that was it. That's the last time I played it. Let's see. Guard says, makes you wonder how Sin would know who I was in the other worlds. Well, usually by the name. Let's see. Ava says, for everyone's state of mind, I've got a Thunder Carbon helmet. I've got a full jacket, gloves, pants, and boots, and I don't ride without any of my gear. As for if you want the vibes right. Okay, cool. Barge Roar Single, aka a thumper. Yeah, there you go. Alan says, Ava, you might want some bags so you can carry the real good rain suit. Well, as far as what I can tell, most riders, if it starts drizzling a little, up goes the visor. Unless you have a overhead visor, then it might be able to protect you a little bit. But if it starts coming down, you find a bridge and you wait it out. Ava's back. All my gear is rain gear minus the gloves. Oh, yeah, I can see that. Did they even make the stuff with the metal plates in them anymore? I know they used to. You used to be able to get I seen it before, the leather jacket, you pick it up and you could actually feel the metal plates in the arms and a little bit in the chest and the back. So if you actually went down and you're skidding across, even if it ripped the leather open, it would actually just grind on the plates. I don't know if they make that anymore. Ava said, I'm looking into summer gear after I get my bike. Yeah. Need it for all travel conditions. Lena, are you sure? House mimics can't travel anywhere. They can just lure people inside. Not by that story. It is basically the tendrils on the bottom that you couldn't see that every mimic has. It was what was giving it locomotion. It's kind of like looking at a snail. You can't see the foot down there moving it, but you know it's there because it's moving forward. For some reason, I keep trying to sneeze. Okay. Demon says, just picture going into the desert and all the sand is actually mimics of all in the middle of the forest and a log cabin and all the rocks and stuff around it were mimics can be scary if done right. You're right, it would be. Basically, you're looking at an entire field of trapdoor spiders that you can't detect. And honestly, that is one of the most horrifying things ever, because trapdoor spiders, most of them don't poison. They actually hold you down and beat the shit out of you until you die. Let's see. Guard says, Jesus Christ, the new Godzilla destroys the Marvel Universe. Really just cranked it up a notch because this motherfucker got Hulk scarred. Like, Bruce Banner and Hulk are both agreeing to not fight him. Oh, got him scared. Because Hulk is the Green Scar. And they probably just looked at it, nope. that would make for a very fun little video there. Guard also says, those two almost never agree on anything in right now. They're both saying this thing's so scary, they don't want to be on the same planet as it. I would tell leave Earth and go somewhere else in space. Yeah. Well, considering he's so smart, he could probably build himself a rocket ship out of a piece of gum and a baling wire. Why not? Demon says, oh, that's it now. I knew if the DC won. I knew the DC won. Now I'm excited. Oh, that's out now. Okay. Alan says, a mimic as a door. That way you present a hand to touch it. One of the things about mimics is they have to expose themselves briefly, like only for about a second or two before they can actually strike, because they have to transform themselves. They can't just like grab you as soon as you touch them, because if that was the case, then nobody would go into a dungeon ever if they knew mimics were anywhere near around. It would just be that simple, because it's far too dangerous. Let's see. Brian says, tomorrow's forecast, 85 degrees. I see a 200-mile lunch ride in the fall foliage. Dude, we do not have 85 degrees here. I have extra blankets on that bed back there because it's going to be cold. And it's supposed to actually drop below freezing tonight. Horse Number says, well, Sin, you did say next season of Healer will be that he will visit my dragon in his territory. And you did mention that my thing that's supposed to be territory had a barrier around it to make it a bit corrected on. Yeah. The thing is, the something familiar is not the same story. It's not. But stand by. Don't get ahead of me, and don't be downtrodden a little bit. There's a little something in there. I can't tell you what it is, but just be ready. See. And just remember that your guy's territory can reach out. So anyways, let's see. Ava says, motorcycle gear uses, I'm not going to be able to, the soft armor in order to save your bones while maintaining structure. And the leather and textile is for abrasion. Okay. Hey, if it works, I'm not a rider. You'd have to talk to Brian on that. I wouldn't know my ass from my elbow when it comes to this sort of thing. Lena said, 3i Atlas came to our solar system as an alien spaceship that pretended to be a comet. Yeah, 3i Atlas is kind of weird right now. It's going to be reaching right next to Mars here soon. They should be able to, by now, get really good pictures of it, but suddenly a bunch of cameras just went down all of a sudden. Bullshit. Yeah, we'll see how that one goes. It's only about 5 degrees off galactic tilt. So if you're looking at the orbits of everything and you turn it 90 degrees, so everything's flat, it's coming in like right along that line. It's really close. So if Mars's gravitational field just turns it just a little bit, it's going to come right at us. And we'll see how that goes. As far as it being an alien spaceship, I don't know. There's some people claiming it is. I leave that one alone. It's one of those, I'll believe it when it happens. But if it shows up with a bunch of Draconis on it, they better not land here in the good old US of A, because we have the most dangerous thing in the world. They're called rednecks. And we're just going to be sitting there just like playing the song in a moment like this as we grab our weapons and start loading up. You're not taking our planet, you green son of a bitch. We're going to skin you at your scaly ass. We're going to make boots out of you. Mm-hmm. War Sniper says, entering my realm. You can still do that, so you don't enter the other realm. You get through the barrier that's protecting my theoretical realm. And you already know it. Description is, yeah. I'm actually going to have to find your stuff and give it another reread just to make sure I got everything lined up before I do anything like that. Leonid says, my favorite Pokemon is Gardevoir, and it's a psychic fairy humanoid female. If you have not seen it yet, I did a story. It was supposed to be the start of a series, but it went absolutely nowhere. It got like no views, where the Pokemon universe merged with ours. And it's not some, oh, I'm going to catch him in a ball and everybody's going to be friends and everything like that. No, it's going to be very, 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 very nasty, because a lot of these creatures can do very, 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 very nasty things. And because they can be very, 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 very scary, very, 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 very dangerous, we will be very, 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 very trigger happy. And I will say, if you listen to that one, your favorite Pokemon may, hint, hint, actually make an appearance. And I know why you guys like that Pokemon. Come on, let's face it. At least once it Poke evolves, or whatever the hell you call it. Let's see. I like Gardevoir. She is very close to a normal female human. My point exactly. Let's see. Lena says, tunnel mimic that steals 5 years of your timeline that you don't even remember. Oi, that is yikes. Just yikes, dude. Demon says, I'm cold now. And I'm in bed under the blanket. I have a headset set to 60 so the pipes don't freeze. But yeah, cold. Saving money on the gas bills, though. Yeah, I actually had the wood stove downstairs. We turned the furnace on just to make sure the damn thing works, and we had to reset a whole bunch of shit, but it works. And Ava saying, gotta go. Good luck, guys. Bye, Ava. War Sniper saying, I'm not talking about something familiar, but I would not mind if the MC in something familiar would enter it to find back his son, or his dragon son. It would be logical, or the dragon son would come back through exiting my realm and entering the MC his realm. Just an idea. Dude, please don't get ahead of me. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You know, you're going to get what you want. It's just going to take a while for me to get there. Just because it takes so long to write these. Looks like everybody's saying, let's see. Erica says, also the government shutdown, so no NASA, 3i Atlas is odd. Well, everybody who wants the government shut down is odd as well. Very odd and very stupid. That being said, you're right. 3i Atlas is very off. Yeah. And down here, Demon says, my favorite Pokemon is Magikarp. Is that the fish? Carp? Is that the one where you got to kick it a few times and then it turns into this giant Leviathan looking spooky thing that has a constant look of like one of those dolls? Demon says, oh, poor Draven. Yeah. Sniper says, okay, Sin, I vote for another episode of the Pokemon story. You're killing me here. Okay, let me story continued. All right, I'll see what I can do. Now, it might not be until later. I'm still working on the files. So I'll work it in there. I can't promise a timeline, guys. Pure and simple cannot promise a timeline. Let's see. Eric saying, damn, predictive text. Yeah, sometimes these AI really suck. Demon says, they way, I think that way. I wrote PAI. He could be in any story. Oh, the way I wrote. Yeah, you're actually right. Because he's in every dimension, everywhere, all at once. Unless he's one of those that just completely went dark and is just kind of out there in the ether, just kind of floating. You know, is what it is. Lena says, well, God of War has a dress and kind of feminine. From my point of view, they look like aliens. Yep. Kind of, especially with that stupid thing sticking out their chest. Honestly, how do you hug something like that without getting impaled? Alina says, Magikarp is a fish. You know what? Next time you know somebody whose name is Vince, just call him Fins. Because if you say Vince, is a Vince, it sounds like Vince. And before I keep going, I need to give myself a little bit of break. And I'm going to use, I don't know which one I haven't used yet. Maybe this one? Use that one. How about this one? That one. Well, fuck. I use that one too. Looks like I ran through pretty much everything here. Let me get back into the comment section. See. Sniper says, so I vote for Pokemon Story and Healer. It's story and Healer is story for another season. So, you know, but take your time, Sin. No, I can only go so fast because life is still life, and I still gotta be around to help everybody. So it is what it is. Let's see. Demon says, yes, he turns into guy. Greasy fucker. That's what I'm gonna say. Turns into greasy fucker. Magikarp shiny is gold, and it technically can learn to move Dragon Rage. That and he also says that fin in the chest is a defensive measure to stop hugs. I say it's effective. I mean, it's a freaking 8-inch spike sticking out the chest. I'd say that would work out really, really well. But then again, are you talking to stop hugs or to stop hugs? You know, that's a little bit of a difference on that one. So anyways, looks like we're getting towards the end of the comment section here. And most everybody's pretty much out. And let me check down here. And let's see. I wonder if someone's still in here made his previous story absolutely disgusting. That made me want to puke. Still thought it was a little messed up having to read all that over and over again. Let's see. Lena says, I think if you go to a different dimension, then you would get memories from that dimension so that your history would be like you always lived in the new dimension. If you're not simply reborn, absolutely. If you're taking over someone else's body, that would be a absolute necessity. There's different ways of looking at that one. Now, if you're just literally cut and pasted in there and you're just migrated over as you are, then no, you wouldn't get any other memories. You just kind of flap it in the breeze. It really depends on how people set things up. Because there's about 20 different ways of doing this, and they're all right. So it is what it is. So let me again double check this. Did we go to And how about this one? Ouch. That's all I can say on that one. All right. See, that looks like it's down to the bottom of all the comment sections. So I'm just going to sit here, play one last video where somebody takes out a land boat before we finish this up for tonight. Yeah, first things first, that particular land ship that he blew apart with an artillery piece, that was a crew, if I remember correctly, of 18. So, yeah, fun. Also, you're right, Brian. 3 hours. We've been going for 3 hours, and I'm probably going to skip the gym tomorrow because I don't think I want to wake up at 4 a.m. Not now. Anyways. Let's see. Yep, it looks like everybody's saying nice. So, just a reminder, make sure you are still subscribed. And if you wouldn't mind hitting the likes on the way out, I'd appreciate it very much. And also, safety brief. If you drink, you don't drive. If you drive, you don't drink. If your buddy wants to drink and drive, feel free to beat their ass. You guys know why. It's better to explain to the cops why you broke his nose than to explain his wife why he broke his neck. Also, if your little soldier is going in the bush, make sure he wears his poncho. It gets wet in the bush, at least if you know what you're doing.
Giggity giggity, giggity goo. Stick around.
All right. And, if you guys are doing the heavier type of play with your mind type stuff, as far as ingesting, snorting, or shoving up your ass for what you're doing, well, don't call me if you're shoving up your ass, but if you're doing that stuff and I'm not around, you're doing something wrong. Anyways, that's about it for me, guys, and I'm going to end it here. Take care, everybody, and be careful on the roads with all the debris from the leaves and everything. It can get a little slick, especially you bike riders out there. Be very, very careful, and I will see you next time right here, same time on Sintext Live. All of you, take care. I'll see you later.